Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESOC Autumn Championships 2016. This quarterfinals match was by far one of the tensest series I have yet seen played in Age of Empires 3 between LordRaphael, who you will remember from the grand finals of the previous 2015/16 Winter Tournament, and Goongoon, who placed third in the 2015 ESOC Summer Championships and second in the Best of the West 2014 Invitational. Two very strong players, both with tournament finishes to back that up. Certainly each of them have the potential to make it all the way to the finals, I do think that. But of course, only one can progress through to the next round. As always, the timestamps for each matchup played are in the description below, but do be careful when looking at those, as it can ruin the outcome of the series if you plan to watch them all in order. Game number 3 was mine and WickedCossack's favourite. But also, we really liked game number 6. I think the casting and commentary was really good for that one. So, if perhaps you don't have time to watch the entire series, at least game number 3 or 6, I think you should check out those ones in particular. I really did like. So, there is that. Speaking of WickedCossack, though, he is certainly the person I'll be casting with today. The British duo is back, but also, WickedCossack has done some 1v1 commentaries over his gameplay, vs H2O. Earlier in the tournament, so links to those in the description if you want to check them out afterwards. Those videos up on the Age of Empires 3 live streams channel, of course, that I am now running. So definitely check them out if you haven't done so already. But without further ado, one of my favourite series yet, and certainly one of the longest on this channel. Enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESOC Autumn Championships 2016. This is a best-of-7 series between LordRaphael and Goongoon for the quarterfinals of this event.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting one, actually. Two very interesting characters we got here. LordRaphael, he was, of course, in the finals for the previous tournament, where he lost to H2O, so a very strong player. And Goongoon, he's an intriguing one. Usually he just, sometimes he goes away for long periods, but then he shows up in a really strong form in the tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays here against LordRaphael. But I'm expecting a really good showing from both players, and hopefully we'll see a really close series here.
Yeah, I think any player to get this far is going to cause a series to be nice. I think there is a facet of tournaments in the round of 8, aka the quarterfinals. That's what happens. I'm looking forward to this. As you mentioned, LordRaphael certainly was the runner-up in the previous tournament versus H2O. Did very well to get that far. Here he is spawning in the south of the map in the colour blue, playing as indeed the Russians.
Yeah, and so it's not a China mirror, right?
Like, no, that's a good point. We always used to see
China mirror.
Yeah, and now we don't see it anymore. Do you want to? I think that's a really interesting thing to start with. Do you want to run us by why that might be the case?
So, well, what happened was Raphael actually picked, he was the first one to pick Russia. Goongoon had China selected in the game, but Raphael, he's kind of known as a European powerhouse. All of his strong civilizations, ports, Dutch, France, Russia, he really specializes in those. Yeah. So I think he was planning to play Russia versus China, but Goongoon didn't want to maybe take the risk of playing into a matchup he hadn't practiced. Maybe he thinks Raphael kind of has a counter build for China, so he decided, well, I'm not going to risk that. He feels his Russia is good enough, so he's decided, you know what, I'm just going to go Russia, so I can't actually be caught out by maybe a counter build that Raphael had prepared. So that's why we're seeing a Russian mirror on here rather than the standard China mirror.
Keep going.
But yeah, I know. So because we don't see this matchup very often, not entirely sure what to expect because a feature of this map is that the hunts. They're quite spread out, and so they're actually going to be hard to kind of herd to your town center. So blockhouse position is going to be very important. We see there's a hunt on the center in the middle of the plateau, so it'll be interesting to see who blockhouses at first. Maybe kind of takes control of the food, as the food I think is going to be a big factor in this matchup.
I agree. The food going to be a big point of contention, but something else that's going to be a big point of contention: the 85 wood treasure. Goongoon does pick that up nice and easily though, but not before his explorer does get into hand combat with his opponent there. Quite a lot of health investment against the tigers, and this is as a result of that. He's not going to be able to fight this. He looks like he wants to pick up these 2 yaks. Has nicely done so.
he should be able to break the snare. I don't know if he knows, but if he jams one of the yaks in between the two explorers, he can actually break the snare and kind of save his explorer. I'm not sure he knows about that trick, as he probably would have done that by now. And he's actually quite far away from his town center, so that's unfortunate for him. He's probably gonna. Oh no! Has he broken it there?
It looked like it for a second. I know that you can. Is he? For a moment there, I thought he was shooting at the tiger to try and get Mother Nature to kill. I thought, surely not. You're not that low on life. But yeah, he perhaps, you know, I imagine it's something he does know, the yak, but just not thinking about it right now, and as a result, not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, starting off the first game in the long series, maybe your brain's not in the. It can be hard to get into the right state of mind. I mean, he was a bit late to this series, so he could be a bit rushed.
He was. We have begun now. We'd started. My apologies to everyone who was watching this as a VOD, but we did manage to get the games going. Looks like he is going to save his Explorer there, but not before losing almost all of his health. Just 18 left. Almost went in for the final shot, but he knows he needs 2 more to kill him there because he's on 18 life, and the ranged attack does not do quite enough damage to kill him. So, but you know, basically no life left. He's not going to be able to pick up any more treasures. Certainly, there's a nice 80 food treasure over here. Not going to be able to get that. And in the meantime, LordRaphael running straight towards the 90 wood. He's going to be really happy with that as well. You know, fortunately for Goongoon, though, did pick up a beefy wood treasure himself. And with that, I imagine he's going to be laying down his blockhouse a little bit sooner. It's worth pointing out, I suppose, that Goongoon does actually have that treasure working for him right now, whereas LordRaphael has not picked it up. So Goongoon is going to be able to get that blockhouse down sooner than his opponent as a result of the wood treasure he picked up. So not a terrible age one, but certainly could have been better. Puts the... they're literally going in the same spot, and both players' villages standing on top of each blockhouse. Wow. Not deliberate, but...
This is going to be very, very curious. Also, LordRaphael is aging slightly faster, and that's just because Goongoon had to put garrison a number of villages in his town center earlier to save his explorer and scare away LordRaphael's explorer. So that's kind of the difference we see here in age up, that Raphael's going to be aging up maybe 10 seconds faster. And I'm not sure that's actually going to kind of help him here. But it'll probably give him a few more options. He does get this blockhouse up sooner. He had 3 villages on that. Yeah,
but he's not got anything in queue just yet. I see only villagers there. So despite getting up slightly sooner, obviously he's not aged yet. That would make sense. So actually, because they're both up, okay, he's now up and he's now going to queue. But because they're both blockhouses were up before either player got to the colonial age, the difference in construction time won't really make any difference here. I wonder if it was really worth sending 3 villagers because you know he lost some villager seconds there. That's in the future going to be perhaps less units, less resources. But then again, I'm not sure. Do you think 2 villagers would have been adequate to get that up?
Possibly, but so the major difference in the builds at the moment is Goongoon decided to go for a market, whereas I believe... Oh, so Raphael's going to add his market as well, slightly later with the 400 wood. Yep. But I think we're just going to see a lot of unit shipments kind of come out here, unless one of them wants to sacrifice their blockhouse. But so Goongoon's got 5 musketeers and
here we go.
Strelets.
Yeah, Strele coming out to begin with from LordRaphael. Of course, these are going to be quite good against the musketeers. He's trying to get back here, trying to get away. He's going to lose the Explorer. 5 Cossacks do arrive. Are we going to see a Cossack fight? No. That doesn't look like it. But Goongoon's going to have to be careful, right? Because, if he gets snared by those Cossacks, if those Cossacks chase down these Musks, which is not happening by the looks of it, then he might have to be forced into a fight against Strelets, which, of course, are really quite good against the heavy infantry, though. We do see a batch of Musks arriving as well. Is it go time? Mind you, the cavalry are very, very strong against the Strele.
Yeah, this is gonna be really close. So Raphael puts his musketeers in melee mode, but Goongoon's Cossacks have pulled right back. Raphael's Cossacks, they haven't really got any Strelets to kill. I'm not entirely sure who's winning this. I think Raphael's got a bit of a lead, but at any moment a unit shipment could come out of this blockhouse from Goongoon and turn the tides.
Yeah, he's going to need it right now. By the looks of it, LordRaphael comes out decisively ahead.
Way ahead.
In that fight. I saw a lot of units sort of walking around not doing too much damage there, and as a result of that, LordRaphael does manage to pick up a huge victory in that fight, and here just has the numbers to bring down the blockhouse as well. That could be a short, decisive 7-minute win.
Yeah, he's in a fantastic position right now, and he's just got to make sure he try and closes this one out by not accidentally throwing the games away. We've seen a lot of throws in this tournament so far. But he's going in and he picks off a villager building the blockhouse. It looks like he's going to get a second one here as well.
2 villagers. Can he get all 3?
It's really nice.
We do see 4 Cossacks come down.
Yeah, so he's gonna scare him away, and actually he's gonna get a few of Raphael's Cossacks here. So that's nice for Goongoon. He really needs to get some good things done now, as he lost the villagers and he's lost his blockhouse.
He definitely needs to get. But can he do it, right? Like, he's now having to deal with what is a superior mass to his own. There's a lot more blue units here, and they're going to be able to keep him off the. He's running out of hunts. Look, he's only got a couple in his base, and then where is his next food source? Unless he wants to gather from berries, which he certainly doesn't. There is no area to gather food. These hunts are all locked down by the blue player here. LordRaphael, all he has to do is just make sure his opponent doesn't hunt, and he'll be fine. Because I can't see Goongoon getting back into a position where he can take on this army.
No, it's going to be really hard. And as you can see, he is actually on berries. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to be, but he is. And a nice shipment by Raphael, actually. He sends the 700 wood. You can imagine a few players in this situation might have gone for the 13 strelets and thought, I've got an advantage. I want to close this out and get a bit antsy. Yep. But he's actually shipped the 700 wood, which is kind of nice. Going to allow him to get his eco up. But maybe now he's getting a bit over-enthusiastic with his small army. He's pushing way in. This is going to get trapped. I think he's going to lose. He's going to lose all these musketeers and strelets if they get found.
I think you might be right. He's going around the back, perhaps looking for hunts. I'm not necessarily sure if he's explored around that area. So he's looking for the food source, right? But he is quite far away. It doesn't look like he's added in too many extra units. By the looks of it, 5 reinforcing musketeers going to find themselves a bit out of position up against a whole bunch of strelets. Musketeers coming back to back them up, and 3 cavalry as well, which are going to snare these. They're not going to be able to move away from this fight. 3 Cossacks of his own do arrive, but that's not going to be enough. The blue army's on its way back here, but not sure if he has enough units really to deal with that.
Yeah, it's all out of position. He just lost 5 musketeers there for free. This army in the back, he can't reveal it. It will just get killed, surely. So, yeah, unless he's got something coming out of this blockhouse right now, maybe he'll have Minutemen coming, but he's going to take the engagement, so we can expect there's got to be some reinforcements going to come out of these stables in the blockhouse.
Surely 13 Strele are going to arrive as well, or something like that. He's going to need that if he's taken. They're arriving a bit late, if that was his plan. There's no unit shipment just yet, and there they are, 13 Strele, but at this point, I still think Red managed to get quite a lot of damage done before the reinforcements arrived, so that trade was not too good for him. By the looks of it, though, is going to leave, doesn't want to stand under the blockhouse fire now that the odds are not quite so in his favor, is going to head on out of there. And the game is now kind of sort of moved back into a neutral state. Though I would say LordRaphael, having gotten down his 700 wood, is going to be quite happy. Going to get the extra infrastructure down. I think he is ahead at this portion of the game. Also, given the damage he managed to get on his opponent's economy as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he's definitely got a nice advantage.
But what happened, though? Because we did see him, walking his units around the back. His mass wasn't quite as large as his opponent. What was happening there? Was he just not reinforcing quite as much, perhaps? And then that combined with his opponent sending the 13 strelets and him not doing so, you managed to...
Yeah, pretty much. So what happens when you send the 700 wood is it means it allows you to get up that extra production. So we added 2 stables. It just meant that it was going to be a while before the rest of his army was going to come out. And so luckily it did come out in time, and he saved it from being kind of a disaster. Goongoon got a few nice trades there. But now Raphael's kind of getting a few nice trades back in return, right? Goongoon's had to sacrifice a few strelets to kind of get his army out of there. He doesn't want to lose all his army. That gets snared by the Cossacks. The strelets will clean it up. So now Goongoon's kind of running away. But he's still in most of his villas are on berries, so Raphael's still in a great position here.
And it's not like he can get back. Another villager just go down, one that was on hunt, and another villager. The score is now 31 economic unit population to 27. So LordRaphael in a very good economic position as well here as a result of what has happened so far this game. And he's gotten down his 700 wood, so he does have the 2 stables added in. And I imagine if we take a look at the text complete, probably has better upgrades as well. Only slightly, just has placer mines, whereas his opponent does not. But yeah, Goongoon's going to have his work cut out if he wants to get back in the game, which obviously he does. But what can he do here? He needs to make something happen. He needs to either find Blue's units out of position like they were earlier, which LordRaphael is not doing at the moment, not presenting him that opportunity, or he needs to get some big villager raid on. But without too many cavalry, he's only got 5 there, or 4 there by the looks of it. He's not going to be able to do that either. So what are we looking at here for Goongoon?
So
he's going with 700 coin, right? Does that perhaps indicate he wants to get up, or both of them actually are, but perhaps some sort of Fortress Age orientated play, or is this more for training cavalry?
This is just a really tricky position. I feel like there's no kind of right answer. He's either got to make a play by say going up to Fortress really fast and seeing if that works out, or possibly just hoping Raphael overcommits into his base and he can call Minutemen and maybe get a good trade there. But both of those are gambles, really. Both of those, you've got to hope the enemy doesn't scout what you're doing. And we see Raphael, is he going to get any more villages? Probably not.
I should hope not, if for Goongoon's sake. By the looks of it, though, Boyars has come in for Goongoon. So actually, that 700 coin shipment he sent was used for training cavalry and probably musketeers as well. And then sent the Boyars, and then Mao, by the looks of it, is looking to push out. But perhaps oh no, the cavalry! They're bumbling around. They're on their own here. This is reasonable. There's not that many musketeers here. In fact, it's actually not too bad. There's only two.
Yeah.
But it would have been so much nicer if he had managed to get the musketeers up here at the same time. Thankfully for him, his opponent's Cossacks were not there when this happened. More Cossacks joining the fray from LordRaphael, and I think this might be the defining fight of the game here. Looks like LordRaphael has the superior army, and despite Boyars coming in.
So Goongoon's composition here is actually better, but it might just be that Raphael had so many extra units that he might clear this up. But you can see Goongoon's his better composition is he's the one who's cleaning this up.
Yeah, you're right.
He's come right back into this. If LordRaphael loses all his army here, I mean, 5 more Cossacks coming in, those Strelets are going to go down.
Yeah, okay.
Minutemen, he's panicking. Minutemen are on the way.
I'm completely wrong by the looks of it. So the Russian sheer mass is playing tricks on me.
Yeah. The Musketeer Cossacks actually beats Strelets Cossacks, and that's what we just seen here. So Goongoon's now he's taken a big army lead, but he's still behind on villages, right? He's down 7 villages, so he's kind of got to translate this army advantage into an economic advantage. So he's going to have to do something with it. He can't just chill here now. He's got to make another play to kind of secure himself.
I think he's completely aware of that as well. 600 coin coming down, and looking to most likely train more units with that. If we take a look at the units in queue, he's got 1 Cossack in queue, so he's going to be able to fund a lot more Cossacks off of the 600 coin, and this is going to help him bring up the mass. He wants to keep the pressure up, and that's exactly what he needs to do, right, given that he is behind on villages. He's locating perhaps the hunts, but does come across a coin mine. And these villages are quite far away from home. We do see LordRaphael in response sending some Cossacks, but they might get headed off by these musketeers here, which is not going to be too good. He's going to take a few shots from... And Cossacks coming away... No, okay, so does save the villages, but losing a few Cossacks being shot out there, not too good. Is there going to be an engagement here? He's going to have to take that if he's going to get caught by these cavalry. Well, that's not a fight he wants to take. Yeah,
Goongoon will just win this. He's got 5 more Cossacks coming in. I feel Raphael really needs musketeers in this situation, but he's been
3
constantly...
more Cossacks as well, and another 2.
He's pulling the villagers. He needs everything right now. The villagers are coming in to tank a bit, or maybe they're coming in to tank, but it's not going to be enough. He's got his coin mine villagers coming in. He's going to lose so much here.
He can't lose this fight, right? If he loses this fight, he loses access to all the coin mines and all the hunts on the map, so he has to bring in the villagers here to make this go as best as he can. And by the looks of it, not going to happen. Just villagers standing here. They were, being here to sponge up some of the damage so his military units wouldn't die, but by the looks of it, LordRaphael does GG for the very first match here. Game number 1 going to Goongoon in what looked like quite a swingy game. We began with LordRaphael in the commanding lead, and we even, perhaps I alluded to, a 7-minute defeat, but no, not the case. Goongoon plays it cool, comes back, and does take the first game.
Wow, that totally turned on its head, and I think I suppose that was partly that Raphael was caught out of position with his Strelets on the left, and I think even earlier in the game, maybe his army was going to get caught out on the right-hand side as well. I think maybe his army positioning wasn't the best this game, and it kind of cost him a little bit. But that was a really interesting one, actually. I honestly thought Raphael had that one after about 7.5 minutes, but Goongoon kept his cool, and he played it well and came out with the win there. That was a nice one to start off, actually.
Yeah, I'm watching that fight back where I'm completely wrong about the outcome.
Was it what the musketeer?
Yeah, the musketeer, where I'm like, oh, he's clearly lost this one, and then boom, the muskets come out on top. I'm like, oh shit, goes to show how much I play as Russia. Yeah, turns out musketeers are quite good against cavalry, and that Strelae, even though they count for one population, they certainly don't act like it. Yeah, that fight was. I was wrong about that one. Whoops. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in this best of 7 series between LordRaphael and Goongoon. This is going to be game number 2, but the previous match was picked up by Goongoon after quite a swingy game. As a result of that, yes. LordRaphael does now get the advantage in the sense that Goongoon will have to pick his next civilization first, and then LordRaphael will be able to pick afterwards. That is the format, and then afterwards we will alternate for the remaining games between the two players. But that does obviously give LordRaphael an advantage in this next match. Perhaps he can pick a matchup that he prefers against Goongoon. The question is, though, what will Goongoon's first civ pick be? He has to pick a civ that he's comfortable with, that isn't easily countered by anything in particular, and is also appropriate for the map that is coming up, which WickedCossack, I think you could tell us more about.
So the thing with Goongoon is I think he prefers more of the sort of the fringe civilizations. So I'm talking like Ottomans, India, China, Aztecs, whereas, as I said before, Raphael is kind of more of the European powerhouse. So because this map is it's kind of small and contained, it's got a few TPs. I think we could see Ottomans or India or no, completely wrong, Dutch. There you go. I wasn't expecting that. I think Goongoon he plays every civilization quite well, but I'm kind of actually a bit surprised to see him taking on Raphael's preferred civs. So he's feeling really confident actually. And Raphael, in response to Goongoon going Dutch, we could just see a mirror. Yep. Yeah, he's just gone Dutch as well.
Yeah, LordRaphael going to be completely okay with this. Big fan of Dutch. He's going to be completely fine. So you think Goongoon not playing to his strengths here, going with the edge case civs you mentioned, Ottoman and Iroquois. Certainly those civs are not quite as good here on ESOC patch. Dutch, however, is a lot better than it used to be, and Goongoon, as you said, is competent with all civs, always has been around for a very, very long time. Perhaps Dutch is something he's been working on recently. It is a lot stronger than it was before, given that the banks are now a bit cheaper. Maybe this is something Goongoon's happy with too. Maybe he is alright for this.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we saw he was the one who opted for the mirror in the first game against LordRaphael's Russians, so I don't think he's at all concerned about taking the Dutch mirror here. It's just that I think it would be nice to see him use some of the... I think he's got a slightly bigger civilization pool than Raphael, so it'd be nice kind of to see him use those less known civilizations, but he's happy with just taking the mirror here, so we'll see if it works for him.
Yeah, is there any particular reason that you might want to pick Dutch on something like Bonnie Springs? I mean, yeah, you have to remember that perhaps LordRaphael has some of the stronger civs. He's going to play them earlier. Maybe Goongoon wants to get those out of the way in mirror matchups, things like Russia and Dutch by the looks of it here. Once those are out the way, maybe he can then move on to civilizations which... the ones we were mentioning earlier. Because you do have to take into account that once you play a civilization here, you can no longer use it. It's disabled until the reset halfway through the series. What do you make of that?
Yeah, so it's quite a long series. So the next two maps could be in the back of their minds, which I believe are Tassili, that's the third map. That's very similar to how Bonnie Springs is going to play out, actually. I think the fourth map is Florida. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But I am a little surprised to see a Dutch mirror here. I would have thought, because of the nature of the map in that it's quite small, I would have thought we'd have seen more aggressive civilizations, and Dutch isn't known for, kind of rushing really hard. They usually kind of turtle up to the fortress age. But he could have also maybe been gambling on the fact that Raphael would want to go for the mirror, so he knows he can just pick what civ he wants, and Raphael's just going to mirror it. So it doesn't matter if he goes Dutch here. And I expect Raphael is just warming his hands up. He does often do this, where he takes a bit of time between games. I think that might be
the blow dryer.
Yeah, I think he might be blow drying his hands right now.
No, and good for him, right? I mean, in a tournament game, you need to take it very seriously, and that's clearly what he's doing. He's told us in the past that hands get very cold for him, and when that happens, I'm sure everyone knows when your hands are cold, it's actually very, you can't do things as quickly. So for LordRaphael, his skill seems to be directly correlated with blow drying your hands, Rafa. With his he needs to warm his hands up for this one. So you can tell he's really taken this seriously. He wants to go into the next match. Under optimal conditions. Maybe, what do you think of this, right? So Goongoon is aware that LordRaphael's hands get really cold, and then just deliberately plays games that take absolutely forever to finish, so that the longer the game goes, the less skilled LordRaphael will be. How do you make that, really? It's certainly still interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. Both players have clicked into game number 2 in this best of 7 series. We have landed on a Dutch mirror on Bonnie Springs, launching game any second now. Of course, my name is Interjection, casting alongside WickedCossack. We will be bringing you this series today. It is taking an unusually long period of time to launch for me. I'm still on the I'm not even on the loading screen.
Me too. I don't know the reason for that. I hope they're not in game and they've already started. To be honest, no one knows exactly how ESO works. It works in mysterious ways. Well, no, I say it works in mysterious ways. It doesn't work.
It rarely works at all. If it worked, working in mysterious ways would be better than not working.
Exactly.
But by the looks of it, we have launched into the game using the Texas picture set. Does Bonnie Springs? So this map, I've not seen a competitive game on yet, which goes to show how much I've been playing on the new maps. But I'm looking forward to seeing this. This, I believe, is the map that has all of the random buildings in the middle of the map, all the Gaia buildings, which are actually really interesting because not only do they, they're it's one of the only maps in the game that sort of uses this, but also you can siege these down for kill XP, which is actually something that the players might do later on if they've got nothing better to do with their military units. It's not that much XP. They're basically like tiny little XP treasures. Kill XP, 40 XP on this house. It takes quite a while to kill it. But we do have, spawning in the north of the map, in the color red, Goongoon. He won the previous game and chose to select Dutch as his civilization of choice for this next match. In response, LordRaphael, here he is in the south of the map in the color blue. He got to choose any civilization he wanted against that Dutch and landed on Dutch himself. Certainly a matchup that he is completely okay with by the looks of it. Perhaps he thinks he's the better Dutch player here. And LordRaphael, certainly a very skilled player with Dutch. But WickedCossack.
Yes. So they started off with my favorite wood start. I was hoping that we would see the 200 wood start because that opens up what we can see Raphael's going for, which is the trading post site. But he also picked up 50 wood treasure, and I don't know if that I think that might have changed his strategy because I noticed he had his wood crates still laying on the ground. But as soon as he'd seen that 50 wood treasure, he went and re-picked them up. He'd only picked up 100 wood for his house. So I think that 50 wood kind of made him actually go for this trading post start, and that's going to help him get that up.
So you're saying really this was certainly something on his mind. He perhaps wanted to, go for a trading post start as Dutch, but didn't do it until he absolutely saw the reason to. I'm loving this 2 guys with deer unit. Is literally called that. They're just standing there with the
you're gonna have to flare this on the map. 2 guys with deer.
It's just here.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
two guys with deer. I thought that was quite amusing. Picking up 55 coin as well. Pretty nice treasure. Not going to be useful early on, but certainly not too much effort there. On the other hand, Goongoon does find himself a settler treasure. That's exactly nice. What he wants to see early on. He
needs that, to be fair. As so he's actually done nothing with his wood, which I'm kind of surprised. I feel like you should probably either start with a market and get hunting dogs if you get a 200 wood start, but leaving it's fine. But because Raphael got that trading post with his wood treasure, I really feel that Goongoon needed a good treasure on his side to head up into the second age in a good position. But that settler treasure, that is a good treasure, so he's going to be content with that. He's going to be happy that might help balance out the trading post for a bit anyway.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, going for 75 food down here as well. I do wonder, though, he hasn't done anything with the wood. That's absolutely true. But he does now. He could age up. He's got... There he has managed to click the button there. But I'm wondering, since he, because he's... getting going to be aging up sooner. Didn't collect that extra wood. Didn't have to chop anything extra for his trading posts. Stuff like that. He is going to be up to the next age sooner, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to really, do anything with.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing that he will have going for him is that he will get his first bank up sooner because he's got this extra 100 wood that he can use. And that's kind of going to translate into probably, say, 70 or 80 coin that bank's going to trickle in before Raphael's bank finishes. So he's going to have that going for him, but he will be down in shipments. I mean, we can see Raphael, he's already got a shipment, ready to go, and Goongoon's still only like 3/4 of the way. Yep. So just having all these shipments is going to give Raphael so much more flexibility on kind of how many hussars. Well, so what I'm expecting is both players are going to do a semi-FF with a state. Oh, nice treasure steal from Raphael. But both players are probably going to do a semi-FF with hussars, and it's just deciding how many hussars do I build. Do I need to ship 8 pikemen at any point? And trying to get up to fortress without just getting outmassed in terms of hussars and losing your entire base. But that extra TB is going to help him a lot. I would definitely rather be in Raphael's position right now rather than having the extra villager.
Yeah.
But you can see Raphael's bank is going up a lot later, so Goongoon will be ahead in coin for a little bit as well.
Yeah, by the looks of it. 400 wood, both players aging up with the clear choice, and with that, we're about to see what they elect to do. Stables, you mentioned.
Yep, stables for Goongoon, and surely we got to see Raphael put in a stables down as well. He'll have the wood in just a second.
Yeah, the envoy here is just as curious as we are. He wants to, Goongoon that is, know exactly what's going down. The envoy does go on the other side. Do you, though, well, I wonder if it's worth, you see your opponent's envoy in the base. Do you, delay the stable production until the envoy has moved on? Or do you place the stable somewhere where the envoy can't quite see it? You'd have to...
Yeah, so the second option, you don't want to delay your stables, but as you said, you could see Raphael, he just consciously placed the stables on the opposite side of his base. So the envoy would see it at some point if it wants to come back in, whereas his explorer sees it. But I don't think it's something you want to delay, but sure, don't place it right next to the envoy, just put it on the other side of the base.
Or perhaps build it very secretively somewhere where your opponent wouldn't expect it. But then maybe if you built it deliberately out in the middle of the map or something, that would come back to bite you in the ass later on. There's not really much space behind your base to secrecy on this particular map. But these are just very small things we're talking about. Both players have elected to send a bank wagon as their very first shipment, and both players have elected to build a stable as well. By the looks of it, Goongoon's, as a result of being up to the next stage a bit sooner, as I was pointing out earlier, and being a bit more prompt putting his stable down as well, has managed to get out his cavalry sooner. Just 4 coming out, not all of 5. And
4 from
Raphael as well. I was expecting him to get 5, given that the you were talking about the trading post, perhaps.
Well,
not on the first batch.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to. It can be pretty close trying to get out 5, especially as we see they were both of them had a market down, so they were kind of trying to squeeze in hunting dogs, and so it's not a big deal getting out 4 hussars versus 5. If you're on top of your hussar control, all that means you have to do is not get caught by the person who's got more hussars.
Yeah, but it does add that element of risk, I suppose. But anyway, right now we do see the explorer is going to go down. Is he going to get caught? One hussar does get caught. That does send it back. Of course, nice. The whole group will be slowed down if not. His own explorer is also heading in this direction. Goongoon going to be picking that up, sadly for him. But yes, a nice 1 cavalry. Thankfully, though, for LordRaphael, he doesn't get caught or lose all of the cav, just the 1 there. Let's take a look at the units in queue. He does have more cavalry, just the 1 at the moment. I'm sure he'll beef that up when the time comes. But his opponent is now adding in pikemen with his racks here.
Wow, and I think that's actually a really good choice against Raphael, because Raphael's kind of known as the guy who he just continues to make hussars in these situations until he feels he has an advantage, and then he ages up. So he's never the guy who does a 5 hussar semi-FF. His semi-FFs are always 10, 15 hussars at minimum. But so it's a nice choice from Goongoon to add pikemen, because if he knows this is kind of Raphael's style, that he's just going to sit here and mass tons of hussars, right? Well, pikemen they just counter hussars.
They do, and we might have a bit of an engagement here by the looks of it. Red does have slightly more. LordRaphael identifying that as well, and instead of committing to the fight, has chosen to get out. 8 pikemen do arrive, and this is gonna even up really nicely for him. He sees the pikemen and tries to get out, but 5 pikemen of Goongoon's own. Looks like because they've snared, they have to take the fight here, and now this is gonna be who can focus down the pikemen the quickest. Your cavalry need to be fighting pikemen, otherwise you're not going to come off very well. Minutemen being called as well. Looks like LordRaphael going to come out on top of this fight.
Yeah, barely, only just. So those 8 pikemen kind of saved him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was getting that TP right, so it allowed him to ship the 600 wood, kind of get up the houses, and that 8 pikemen is kind of a free shipment in a sense, thanks to the fact he had a trading post. Goongoon couldn't really afford to send something like 8 pikemen right now. And this might be the cue for Raphael to try and, if he feels he has an advantage now, this might be where he decides, I'm going to head up to the Fortress Age.
Yeah, perhaps so. He's adding in his final bank, the number 5 bank coming down there. Perhaps with that final bank, he'll now start saving the resources, banking them up to go up to the next stage. Certainly is something he could do. In the meantime, though, by the looks of it, an envoy coming through the base to scout where the villagers are, so that the 4 hussars of his know exactly where to go. By the looks of it, actually not going to be heading in that direction. Hussar's going to go home. Perhaps he doesn't want to get caught out by the pikemen that he sees his opponent has, and obviously the cavalry there as well. He doesn't want to risk these hussars getting in any kind of engagement. Does look like he is wanting to age up, stockpiling quite a lot of food now, and of course has quite a lot of gold as well, and the 700 coin shipment has arrived, and that all signals, of course, he wants to go up to the next age. At the same time, also looks like that Goongoon has started to do the same thing, but not before he added in a few extra units. So by the looks of it, LordRaphael, by electing to go up or make the decision to stop training units, he's going to edge himself out a small advantage there by saving those resources for perhaps the more impactful units in the next stage, the skirmishers and the reuters, and also just get up there a bit quicker as well.
Yeah, so I wasn't fully aware of the kind of the bank discrepancy here. I just kind of only noticed it, so that Raphael's on 5, but I expected that Goongoon would say be on 4 banks, but he's only got 3 banks, unfortunately.
Oh,
I'm kind of. Yeah, I'm surprised because he shipped both the wood shipments, but I suppose it's because he built his barracks early, right? And train those pikemen, which
whereas
kind of
LordRaphael had the extra trading post and was able to ship 8 pikemen for basically the same effect there. So as a result of that, getting up the banks or less banks, and that's going to hit him as we move into this Fortress Age portion of the game. For the rest of this game now, got 5 banks behind him. LordRaphael's economy is on fire, but here Goongoon, unless he has them in now, and if he does do that, he's going to find it very difficult, spending, 700 resources on banks. He's not going to be able to keep up with perhaps LordRaphael, who is now up to the Fortress Age, and that pressure, that sort of, that will be arriving soon.
Yeah, so I feel like we're in maybe a little bit of a similar situation to the first game, where kind of the early victory here has gone to Raphael with his build. But we've seen that Goongoon, he's really good at keeping his cool, and he could certainly come back into this with a nice engagement if he can work up a nice unit composition. Well, I'm curious to see what their first shipments are going to be in
1,000 wood coming out from Goongoon. I really like that decision, actually, because and Raphael as well. So with the wood, I anticipate, Goongoon will most likely get up his remaining banks that he hasn't done so yet. And for LordRaphael, I imagine this will be more for perhaps adding in the arsenal, and then perhaps getting some of the upgrades there, counter-infantry rifling. Maybe that will be what he does with the wood. But either way, an incredibly efficient shipment, right?
Yeah, so the 1k wood is that's always what you want to send, and we can actually see Goongoon is going to be using that to add his 4th and 5th banks, so that'll be nice for him. So he'll kind of catch up in economy a bit. But more interesting it'd be to see what Raphael spends it on, and it's going straight on production. So he's adding a 2nd barracks and a 2nd stable.
Stable as well.
So 4 production facilities.
And probably some housing, I would imagine. So perhaps not the arsenal. Maybe that's something that comes in a bit later on. That's not something you're going to do quite so early. But yeah, plenty of infrastructure here. 1,000 wood, really, really efficient, and that's exactly what both players want to be having, efficiency.
Yeah, so this is kind of with 4 production facilities up now and lots of housing space. Well, for some reason he's got 90 out of 90 population, but he's getting a few more houses. But so this should set up nicely for a big timing that he can make in, say, about 2 or 3 minutes time, when he maybe gets a unit shipment in as well, and like a couple of batches from 4 production facilities. His army is going to explode in the number. And Goongoon's decided to push now, and so this timing might not actually work out well for him.
Yeah, by the looks of it, yeah, you know, eight skirm. Oh dear, it's slanging a little bit.
Hopefully it clears up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're trading a bit in the middle. Raphael lost a couple of Reuters there, but they're just kiting with the skirmishers and trading with the skirmishers at the moment. Their skirmisher counts are pretty similar. Raphael's, I think he's just got a shipment of 8 skirms in. He needs to kind of pull them into the fight though.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, as Goongoon, he had more skirmishers there. I think, yeah, Goongoon's actually 10 skirmishers up, so Raphael can't trade. But he's opting to stay here and trade with the skirmishers.
Yeah, perhaps now he noticed. Maybe he was okay with the fight, but now the 8 skirmishers have arrived. Perhaps now he'll decide to get out. Perhaps he's only just noticed that they have arrived. But yeah, hasn't done so just yet. It does bring it. I wonder what's the hell is. Hold on one sec. You keep going.
All right, so Raphael's skirmisher count is really dropping right now. It looks like he's just getting kind of outmassed in the middle of the map. He's bringing in his pikemen as well, but his own hussars are getting cleaned up. Military population seems pretty even at the moment. Raphael's pikes are going to get a nice trade on these hussars, but he's left a few skirms. A few more skirms are going to come in. It's quite back and forth actually. I feel like Goongoon's got the slight edge in the army at the moment, and just because of his skirmisher mass, he's constantly being bigger than Raphael.
Yeah.
Raphael, he's only got about
more
10
Reuters being added in. That's not necessarily what he wants right now.
Not at all.
Yeah, there's not really any cavalry here. So as a result of Goongoon just having more skirmishers and LordRaphael creating the unit the skirmishers are very good at, very good against, I should say, he's worked himself up a really nice advantage. And on top of all of this, he even has these pikemen in cover mode there, so they soak up a bit of extra damage should any stray shots find themselves being targeted on the pikemen there. That, you know, they're acting like sponges, keep these skirmishers alive a bit longer. Yeah, even like the Reuter mass is growing and growing, but it's going to be no use at all against what is effectively skirmishers and pikemen, which are very quite good against them.
Yeah, and so Goongoon's kind of just pushing his skirmisher advantage home. He's chucking his skirmishers in there. He got a few villagers, which is nice. So he's kind of up in economic population now. I think he's about seven villagers up. But Raphael, he gets a nice pop of skirms on the right-hand side, and so maybe this is his one chance where he can push back. But no, Goongoon's got a reinforcement batch of 10 skirms as well. I think this might just be too much for Raphael. Actually, he's in a big trouble here. Big trouble.
Yeah. Perhaps clearly. Okay, so 5 cavalry do come out. That's exactly what he needs right now. Sadly, the Reuters kind of getting in the way. Or they're moving up, actually, to get some shots in, because they know that the cavalry will be here to keep the skirms in place. So this is quite good for him. But right on time, a batch of Reuters do turn up to kind of deal with these hussars here. So he must have been anticipating something like that being in queue.
Yeah.
And does nice and adequately deal with that. Skirmisher count, does pick up 2.5, 3 skirmishers on the retreat as well. That's really, really big for him, considering. And another one as well, getting caught around the trees. By the looks of that lag we had earlier was on my end, but is now completely fixed. I saw what the problem was. It's all good.
Alright, cool. Yeah, so that was a nice little play by Raphael to get those 5 hussars out. He kind of noticed that Goongoon had gone all in on skirmishers. So Goongoon was trying to power home his skirmish advantage, but Goongoon he was also sensible. He had just enough Reuters kind of just to hold it there.
Yeah. But so imagine if all those Reuters that LordRaphael had trained earlier had been cavalry instead. That would have been really quite strong against this.
Well, he's got another batch of hussars. So let's see how this does, because I can see Goongoon's only got 6 Reuters at the moment and a bit more lag.
That's not me this time.
It could be me. Should we?
No, the fight is happening here. So yeah, he shipped 4 hussars and got a batch out as well. Sadly, a couple of them are being caught, not in combat. Okay, getting back into combat here. So really trying to push with his hand cab. More Reuters joining the fray, and I think the skirmisher, the more stuff principle comes into effect here.
Yeah.
The hussars have all gone down.
Yeah,
and now LordRaphael is going to have to get out of here. He can't continue pushing this without hand cavalry. GG, he calls it.
Okay, so that was it. That was an interesting game. We should check on the lag issues. I want to check if it's me. I might have to bail out of that one.
Yes.
Yeah, because the lag can, especially in those kind of skirmisher dragoon fights, that's not what you want. It's less of an issue if you've got like a civ like China where it's just like jam everything in there. But the skirmishers kind of, it's quite important that you need to kite. So let me check.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 in this best of 7 series between LordRaphael and Goongoon. The first 2 games going to Goongoon, and because Goongoon won the first one, LordRaphael got the advantage in the second one, but now we do alternate back to Goongoon, and then afterwards we'll alternate back to LordRaphael. So, Raphael has to pick his civilization first here, 2 games down, and the advantage to his opponent, by the looks of it, has selected France, and Goongoon now gets to choose a civilization afterwards. What do you pick here against France on Tassili?
So this is LordRaphael's signature civilization kind of. He's a big French player, and it's probably his best civ right now. I'm pretty sure his France can kind of take on any civ that Goongoon picks. I mean, we've just seen 2 mirrors, so could just see Goongoon go in France, but I think that he'd have to be feeling pretty ballsy to take on Raphael's French. But I mean, he's just won 2 European mirrors, right?
And clearly the mirrors have been working out for him. Dutch, the previous game, he just won that particular mirror as well. So maybe he will go France. Equally, though, he does have the advantage in this match. So picking a civilization that you think is good against France is perhaps the better thing to do here. We'll see if Goongoon does opt for that. But I think France is a very safe pick from LordRaphael. You know, it's a good all-round civ that doesn't really have any glaring weaknesses. There's no civ in particular that is really quite strong against it. So LordRaphael taking the conservative pick here, and that's what you need to do when you're picking first, because you know you can't just go Japan or something like that and then just be hard counted. That's no good.
Yeah, exactly. So France has always kind of been this civ that, while at times it might have never been the strongest civ, but it's never kind of had a direct counter, and that's kind of why we've seen a lot of these French play. Oh, Spain
coming out.
No, that is a good choice, actually. I like that.
I'm happy too. I want to see some Spain action. Spain been enjoying a bit of love recently, thanks to advanced trading post and the ability to actually send it, given the extra shipments. I'm sure that's what we're going to see here out of Goongoon. Or maybe we'll see the classic FF. I'm not certain that's actually particularly strong, especially against France here. But Goongoon picking Spain here. So you said you like it.
Yeah, so I think Spain is possibly one of these civs that can kind of take on France. As you said, it's kind of had a resurgence with this, with the advanced trading post sort of strategies, and this map has 4 trading posts. So it's kind of similar to Bonnie Springs in that our trading posts are split down either side of the map, but this map is possibly a kind of a bit longer than Bonnie Springs, but at the same time it's a bit narrower as well. So. It's gonna be interesting to see exactly what happens here. That the hunts are a bit low as well, so neither of these civs gather up hunts too excessively, but fighting over control of the hunts is kind of going to be an important factor in this game, I think. And now it's Goongoon who's taking his time to wait.
Yeah, by the looks of it, doesn't seem perhaps too confident on his Spanish pick, or maybe he was just checking his deck and that it had all of the appropriate cards.
I wondered if it was a bit of payback for Raphael taking so long on the game too.
Just deliberately waiting here, playing the mind games. I'm not really sure what you can draw out of those kind of things. Or what your opponent is really supposed to think when you're deliberately taking. That might not be the case at all. But we do have in this morning in the left-hand side, the south of the map. South right, I think is my usual description of this location.
South right.
The south right, yes. The south right spawn. We do have indeed Goongoon playing as indeed the Spanish here. Spawning with a 100 wood start. I think he would prefer a 200 wood start, especially if he wants to send ATP. It just means less wood chopping later on. That gold not going to be particularly useful here, so that's sad for him. But at the same time, his opponent here, he is the French player in the north of the map, does also get that same coin crate start, so will not be able to go for the early market, the early trading post, unless he finds a substantial amount of wood. Does find 50 wood, so perhaps, he's going to go for that right away. Maybe that will influence his decision. We'll see what he does. At any rate,
whoa, he's just
shit!
the villager.
Oh dear, that's no good. That's I'm pretty sure that's an automatic. Like, he can't just quit.
No, so he can't. So we can see if Goongoon might be nice and kind of agree to a rematch here, as you know the game's just started. So yeah, there we go. Goongoon, he's actually being a stand-up guy. That's pretty nice. So he agrees to a
If this tournament were worth $500,000, maybe that wouldn't be the case. But sadly, it's only worth 600 currently. All of our other ones have been worth 1,100, 100 for the betting tournament, and 1,000 for the actual main event. But this one, we made the decision to launch the tournament with not all of the available funding because we wanted to get a tournament out there. But hopefully the next one will be 1,000. All donations received on this stream do go towards future prize pools. But Goongoon being a nice, good sportsmanship.
Yeah,
there.
that's good to see actually. I'm pleased we get to see a rematch of that, as kind of losing a villager that early is. I mean, that is kind of Raphael couldn't have really played from that position. That is almost game over to lose a villager at that point. I mean, I don't quite know how he. Like I've slipped up before in games and kind of accidentally deleted my town centre.
By the looks of it was the villager building the market, so by the looks of it, he wanted to delete the market, presumably, and then perhaps go for a trading post. Maybe what I was saying was not crazy after all. Either way, that 50 wood treasure was going to help with the market, certainly, but maybe he didn't want the market, or maybe it was just a blunder. Maybe he went to type in the chat box or something, who knows. But either way, we are going to be restarting. Same matchup, same map. And perhaps this time we will have a 200 wood start. I think Goongoon would be pretty pleased with that. Maybe he wasn't too bothered about restarting because he wanted the 200 wood start. Maybe that's maybe this is helping him out too.
Possibly, though. I think kind of Spain is actually okay with the 100 wood start. As if you ship the 200 wood, you have to bear in mind that Raphael gets 200 wood as well, so he gets a trading post.
He gets a trading post immediately, right? Whereas
Exactly.
Goongoon cannot really build it until ATP arrives, which is a bit later on in the game. So there is certainly that. And by the looks of it, I thought for a moment Goongoon was going to be doing the same as last game. We were going to wait just before beginning, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
No,
All right, game number 3 underway. We do, of course, have Spain versus France. The map is to silly as it was last time. Welcome back, everybody. Spawning in the south right of the map. We've swapped positions this time. We do have LordRaphael in the colour blue, playing as indeed the French. A 100 wood start again, but he's not going to be too upset about that. He does have 55 coin treasure in his base. Also 40 XP. Which do you crack shot? I guess you have to crack shot the Outlaw, but getting that 40 XP really quickly is also quite nice if you want to get that 3 villager shipment arriving ASAP. But to be fair, you probably could kill the Cougar, pick up the XP treasure, and crack shot the Outlaw Rider all the same. Either way, does elect to go for the 55 coin, and that is, of course, going to make that early market start much more palatable now that France, of course, does not have that 100 extra food that they always used to have. That has been taken away from them. 55 coin going to be very welcome for that. And these boxes are really scenic. I know exactly what these are in the scenario editor as well because of all the screenshots I've been making. But that's not the point. There's the early market. Spawning in the north of the map, though, in the colour red. We do indeed have Goongoon laying down a house with his 100 wood start, leaving the coin on the floor. This is of no use to him right now, and he'll pick that up later on.
But this 70 coin is, though.
Yes, we do have a treasure contention. By the looks of it, is going to pick it up. Goongoon, another 70 coin to add to his 100 that he doesn't need right now. But either way, that's a nice pickup considering LordRaphael was going for it.
Yeah, so I think Raphael, up until his 70 coin got stolen, he had the much nicer treasures in his base. So with the 55 coin treasure, he bought 100 wood at the market, which is the more efficient.
This is
wow,
ballsy.
Wow.
Goongoon knows exactly where that explorer is. Yeah, he's going for this anyway. Surely not. Yeah, he took out the first one, then just let him crack shot the second. All he had to spend there was a crack shot, which on this map is not a huge investment. There aren't that many amazing treasures. Well, there's a few, but okay, so he did spend his crack shot to get that, but still basically just gave him 70 food. Maybe he thought the explorer went off in a different direction. Maybe he was feeling really ballsy, was gonna go for the treasure anyway and then flip the coin on picking it up? By the looks of it, just gave it to his opponent.
Well, I think he's just feeling bad for Raphael that he just got 70 points. So
It's 70 food, buddy.
Yeah, I'll help you get your 70 food. Kind of, maybe it's a kind of a power plays. Trying to show his authority in this matchup. You need 70 food to beat me. So here you go. I'll even help you pick it up.
I'll even unnerf France for you. Here's the food crate back. Yeah, something like that. By the looks of it, though, a good age 1 coming out from LordRaphael. He's doing quite nicely there, thanks to the 70 food.
Yeah, I'd be happy with this age 1 that he's got. He got that 55 coin, and he's got 70 food, and now he's even going to get another native scout. Yeah. So he's going to have 2 native scouts, so he's going to know everything that's going on. But look at this treasure. 165 coin, that's huge.
That is huge, and that's what I was going to say. Goongoon is going to be by no means upset with his age 1 either.
Not at all.
165 coin, really, really nice. Made possible by Bonito the dog. There he is. Very, very good. Yeah, and so much coin now. 100 coin there. He's got 20 coin muskrat, another 10 coin muskrat in his base, 70 coin earlier. If he could just go for the the naked FF here, right? It'd be really good given all of the coin he's picked up. He could do it super quickly. Probably not what he's going to elect to do, but certainly makes that option more palatable now.
Yeah, so we can expect to see Spain doing some sort of fast fortress. I'm not sure if he will ship the advanced trading post on this map just because of the way it's kind of laid out. But
that's true. Yeah, still could be worthwhile, but certainly not as worthwhile as some other maps. We'll have to see what he does choose. Either way, he has now clicked up to the next age, and as a result of that, has repositioned all of his villagers over to wood. And we'll be looking to get up at least 1 trading post. Whether it will be with ATP or not remains to be seen. And where is his explorer? It doesn't look like he's getting in position. At the moment, chasing down a native scout. Maybe that's fine. But we'll soon, I imagine, send the explorer to get into position to build down the trading post. Market being added in, so ATP doesn't look like it's coming.
No, so he does have a shipment, but he hasn't sent it. It's definitely being saved. Yeah. So the market's interesting. That might kind of indicate it's more of an...
we do have a donation coming in by the looks of it. $25 from Warno. Sportsman
deserves a donation.
Wow. Oh god, do we please have to have the lady reading it out? Holy crap. I can read them out, it's fine. 25, thank you very much. That's really generous of you. That will, of course, go to our next tournament. But WickedCossack, he is now adding in the trading post. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, so we got a trading post coming up, and I'm just expecting kind of a fast fortress. We could see him put a racks down, maybe make a few musketeers kind of in transition, but he's going to head up to the fortress pretty promptly. Be more interesting to see what Raphael's going to do. So he's added a market, and his trading post is going to be a bit later. I'm sure his explorer's kind of heading over there to build a trading post. It looks like where he's going. He's kind of got the wood for that.
Yeah,
as well.
Looks like where he's going as well. Oh, and another donation, $10 coming in from Multiplex 999. Thanks for hosting that tournament.
Thanks for hosting the tournament.
Thank you, lady, for reading that out again. Thank you for all donations received. Very generous, and we do thoroughly appreciate it here at ESOC TV. Absolutely. But so what is our blue player up to? Racks being added in now. Perhaps some kind of 10 musk semi, something like that. Or...
Yeah. So he's gonna do the semi FF. He's just gonna get out a few musketeers just to be safe, kind of in case anything sort of happens. He might also put on a bit of pressure, try and siege down Goongoon's trading post.
That's what I was thinking.
Possibility.
Yeah. Would be useful to do that. Cavalry start is reasonable too, but you're never sure what Spain is perhaps going to be up to. At any rate, the musketeers could be used in some kind of like sending the falcons and defending them later on. I don't know. Musketeers are going to be useful here at least. So Goongoon, I quite like the market, given that we did see. He collected all that extra coin. Maybe he thought he could get away, add in the market, make it a lot easier to get away, to get those upgrades, things like that. But and a third donation from Whisker Baskets, $10. Such sportsmanship. Thank you very much.
Sportsmanship.
Thank you, lady, again for reading it out. But just a naked FF from Goongoon, right?
Yeah, and I suppose he can kind of get away with that in this situation. He's got 700 woods coming down as well, but I think Goongoon's in a nice position. That we see usually at this point, most Spain players wouldn't even have the market up. Usually you kind of either add it with the 700 wood or you just ignore it completely and kind of go all in with your fortress play. So he's actually going to have a slightly better economy than you would normally expect from a Spanish player at this point. And we can see his outpost is in a very forward location. Raphael's he's gonna come across it now.
That must have been all the donations. Yeah, he does come across it there. These musks not going to be going in that direction now, and as a result of the way the map is all split up, that outpost is really awkward for him. But yeah, the more important thing to say about it is this is going to be one hell of a aggressive fast force. Very forward outpost for, of course, the home city shipments to spawn at, and I'm sure we're going to see... well, actually, where is this Rex? He hasn't added one in yet.
No, so, I mean, he's kind
5
of...
settlers coming out.
Yeah, so he's going to have a really nice economy. So he's had a lot of scouting potential as well, because it's quite a narrow map, just having this outpost, and he's kind of had you can see his dog and his explorer, and even he had a harmonica native. They've just all been moving about the map. So he's seen nothing from Raphael that kind of indicated that he would need to build anything really fast, like getting the racks up to defend. So he's just putting his racks up in a leisurely kind of time. We can see it going up now, and he's going to start getting his fortress push ready. Yeah. And we'll see if it comes out of this outpost, and if he's going to start putting the pressure on really fast. Or if
I imagine we will see 4 cavalry arrive at this outpost approximately right now. There they are. Did age up with those. Those are going to come out, perhaps try and get some raiding done, particularly maybe on this villager on the very outer edge of the coin mine there. But I do wonder if musketeers coming in, they're going to deflect that nicely. Does lose half the HP, but Worth coming in there doesn't look like he's going to want to come back in that way. Perhaps he'll go around the other side now. But being proactive with these cavalry, shipping them to the forward outpost. I do wonder though, WickedCossack, whether this Rax was supposed to go up in his base. Maybe he ought to have built it further forward next to the outpost. If you're going to be that aggressive with the outpost placement, perhaps that's where the Rax should go as well. Or maybe he realised, I don't have enough time to get it there, I'll just build it in my base. Or is this him being concerned about losing the barracks?
Yeah, so I think it's just him playing it slightly safer and being concerned that if Raphael had pushed with, say, maybe 15 musketeers, he could have gotten down the outpost and then possibly the barracks as well. And then that's suddenly taken all the wind out of Goongoon's sails, right? He's got to then come from his town centre. He needs a new racks. And so Goongoon's just playing it safe. It's not going to add too much time to his push. We can see he's kind of added a few war dogs. He's starting training skirms. And the important shipments that he needs to send, they're still going to come out of this outpost, so they're still going to be close to Raphael's base. So it's not an issue for him.
Well, maybe it's a case of, like, because look what's going on. LordRaphael has shipped 2 cannons, really defensive shipment, right? If you're going to be using it like this, and using the musketeers to defend. And I think the reason he's done that is because of this forward outpost. He's seen the forward outpost, and it was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to play defensively here. I'm going to get that up, send my falcons. But actually... Goongoon's not done that at all. He's proceeded to send 5 villagers during transition, and then 1,000 wood is his very first shipment. Maybe this outpost is just a kind of a trick.
Possibly, and well, Raphael's not waiting around to find out. He's just going to start sieging it down. If it is a trick, well, then he's just going to take it down, and Goongoon's got nothing here to kind of contest that. He would need his own 2 falconets, which he currently doesn't have. We can see he's shipped the 5 lancers, actually. So he's not going for this. He's not going for the falconets at all.
Yeah, it appears as 4 lancers on the UI, but that's because it's using. Basically it just needs to be updated. It's fine, but he sent 5 lancers. That's right. He's got quite the army going, and despite doing the naked FF, I think his economy is really on point as well. He actually has. Well, once we recalculate it, not quite so good, but the uncalculated one is better, but that's because France villagers take a lot longer to train. It's not actually very interesting. But having sent 1,000 wood, got both his trading posts up, the economy's looking really nice here. Might lose this trading post just as a result of not being able to get there in time. Yeah.
He's got a lot of lancers. He's got another batch of 5 lancers out, and I think if he can get his skirmishers in time, he could probably just kind of steamroll this army from Raphael.
That's absolutely true. Lance, you don't get to see them very often. Very strong against infantry, though, of course. And maybe this is just a facet of him seeing the 2 cannons, and his opponent trained a whole bunch of musketeers. Here we go. He needs more goons than that. Is he going to get the cannons into the trees or something so he can protect them there? That's not good. Come on. He needs to get that. And you see that God needs to stagger him with the skirms to add extra spacing so the area damage to the Falcons is less effective. But Lancer's just going to tear through these musketeers. They don't care at all. Minutemen being cool, but it's going to be far too late. All the musks are gone, and now the Lancers can move on to the cannons. And once they are down, Lancers are going to get back, and the Dragoon's not going to be effective at all.
Yes, so the fact that Goongoon spread out his skirmishers was absolutely beautiful. Those cannons really didn't get much done. if Goongoon had put those skirmishes kind of in the normal mode, I think they would have all kind of got crushed there. But that was really well done by him. And but Raphael, he's held it, but he seems to be down a bit in score now. So I think the trade there went really well for Goongoon, but it wasn't enough to kind of just end the game and continue the push.
No, Dragoons were getting lots of damage on the Lancers, and the Lancers really don't like that. But he did lose his Falconets, which is something he no longer has. And Goongoon does have Falconets as a shipment, which I'm sure will arrive at some point. And then without Falconets of your own, it actually becomes quite difficult to deal with that. So a nice pickup there, taking out that Falc shipment early on in this game. And just as a sheer resource value, that's 1,000 resources now gone. And also he managed to pick up all those musketeers as well. So I think Goongoon going to be really happy about that trade. And also, let's not forget, he did have 2 trading posts for this whole period of time. And he is playing as Spain. The shipments are coming thick and fast. And when you're up, you have to be worried at that point as France. Spain can just repopulate their army quite quickly, and it's not like he even has a bad economy behind this either.
No, his economy is in kind of great shape, and so Raphael's going to have to be very careful with the micro here. He doesn't want to get his dragoons caught by these Rodoleros, but we can see Goongoon has now shipped in his 2 Falconets. And so how is Raphael going to deal with this? With his own stagger mode, I guess you can see his skirmishes. He's obviously taking the trick out of Goongoons, but he has to be careful if he's grouping them with his Explorer. The stagger mode might not kind of work out correctly here. Because we can see they're in stagger mode, but they're not really...
They're not that spaced out. Yeah, they need to space... No. And that's, by the looks of the cannon setting up, is he going to get a free volley on the skirms before he notices it? Yes, he is! And they were nice grouped up. Really nice. They're getting the Falcons set up and ready to shoot and luring them in kind of towards the Falconets with his own skirmishes. And nicely done there. Get a free volley. And now being... Oh, another donation. $10 from Gitchen Lord. Buff walls on EP, he says.
Buff walls on EP.
Another lady will read it out too. $10, so thank you very much. Very generous. Lots of donations this stream. The round of 8 action heating up. Hopefully we'll see that continue to the semi-finals. We'll have our $1,000 tournament sorted. I think that brings us up to around 700 out of 1,100 that we are looking for our next tournament. So thank you everyone who has donated here. By the looks of it, Cannon's now going to start cleaning up this trading post and then pushing into his opponent. In the meantime, though, Lord_Raphael knows there's nothing he can do about those cannons, so has sent his Dragoons up to the north of the map, all the way across the other side to do some raiding here. And whilst Dragoons aren't the best raiders, they are fast, they're able to do some damage, they're going to kill off a few villages, and now only five Dragoons heading back to deal with this. Another $10 from I Am Soldier. Games Hi Lady, he says.
GAMMMESSS.
Yeah, so
Hi,
thanks for all the
lady.
donations, but we can see the...
Without the Dragoons in his base, surely now this Goon is just like, alright, I'll just push into you. You don't have your Dragoons in the team with.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how Raphael's going to be able to deal with these Falconets. It might need to be a Courier de Bois. Oh, I think if he maybe takes 10 of his Couriers... Oh, we can see, actually, he's
bringing them in right now.
now.
He doesn't have his Minutemen, but surely a shipment is going to arrive as well, something like that. Dragoons on the way back. So Kurz on the one side, Goons on the other. Maybe he can get rid of these. Also, TC fire might be useful. So Kurz do manage to pick up one Falc, but still Falc's getting good value shooting at the skirmishes there. One is, by the looks of it, tasked... Yeah, 3 cuirassiers coming in. They're going to be tasked on that Falc. Okay, so Falc's adequately dealt with.
Yeah, so I think this villager pull was really nice. Enabled him to deal with this Falconet push, and now I think he's just got enough kind of skirmishes to maybe deal with it, especially if he tanks a bit more of his Courier de Bois. He doesn't want to lose too many, but I think he's taking the lead in skirmishes now. Yeah, we can see he's got 21 skirmishes. Goongoon's only got about 17, so I think he'd be fine to pull his villagers back now and just fight this with skirmishes, and he's held this really well.
Yeah, held it quite nicely. Did lose a few Kurs, but at this, and also they were not working during that fight. But yes, he did what he needed to do, which was deal with the Falconets, and now his superior skirmish is going to push these away for the time being. 5 cavalry do arrive from Goongoon's home city, and they are causing a bit of problems for these CDB, but plenty of Goons here, and they're going to do really good against the cavalry. He's not going to be able to push it to those skirms just with 5 cav, which is now 3 cav by the looks of it. So Goongoon on the back foot, but at the same time does have the Scully, does pick up another villager there. And I think, with his 2 trading posts to his opponent's 1, and his superior economy, he's in an okay position. Though the players don't, or Goongoon more specifically, doesn't necessarily know that his economy is better than the French player. He knows he killed a few villagers, but he can't know for sure, right? So what do you do in this position as Goongoon? By the looks of it, 4 Lancers do arrive as well. Do you perhaps continue pushing, continue shipping units, or is it at this point you need to slow down, make sure you have all your market upgrades, get another town centre or something like that? There's 2 options, right? And it looks like he's electing to continue pushing. Is that the right decision to make?
Well, the thing is, because of the map, it doesn't have many resources left now. It's quite a low resource map, and
That's
so we
true.
can see a lot of them are kind of gathering in the middle. And this is where it really favors France, in that Spain is going to have big trouble taking a fight next to these coureurs de bois. Because any time he's going to take a fight here, these coureurs de bois are just going to swing the fight hugely in Raphael's favor. So even though Goongoon's I feel like his army's definitely stronger. He can't push into these coureurs de bois that well.
Yeah, because they're just going to come out and start fighting, and they do have monster range resist. They're big sponges during a fight. Thing is, though, if he can just keep poking at the CBD, maybe he can get an advantage that way. Either way, it looks like he wants to take a fight here. Five cuirassiers coming out, but sadly they walked all the way in and then had to leave, not getting any damage done there, so that's going to be really good for Goongoon. In the meantime, it looks like it's both skirmishers trying to target dragoons, and this fight, I think, actually, certainly given the CDB, is in favour of the blue player here.
Yeah, Goongoon's going to have to be really careful targeting all his units to make sure he doesn't lose any shots, and he's doing that really well. I just noticed all his skirmishers have been firing on the dragoons up until the last shot, so he's making a good use. But again, I feel like Raphael might just be able to hold this.
Yeah, but he did lose a whole bunch of villagers there. Look at the recalculated economic unit population.
Wow,
so yeah, this fight, I think, was perhaps slightly in favour of LordRaphael, but the villagers lost really now greatly advantages Goongoon. He's going to be very happy about that. So pushing in there looks like he did make use of that. Maybe that was the right thing to do. You're saying the resources are running out. The only other thing you could do, right, is if your opponent's locked down in one position, he can't leave. His military can only be where his economy is for the French player, because that's the way he's going to have to fight.
Yeah.
So do you just move your units around and fight in other locations and just harass the player in other places? Perhaps that would take too long. But cavalry combat coming in. Sadly, not very many cavalry for it to benefit.
No, he's pulling his villagers. Raphael
$10 coming from Whisker Baskets. Ida Holland test score is following.
Raphael feels in a really desperate position right now. He's putting coureurs de bois really offensively. He's not using them defensively now. He's actually kind of using them to push in.
Yeah.
I think he wants to try and.
This is a do or die push. He's aware that he's lost a lot of economy. He needs to really put Spain in his place right now if he's going to win this game. And he's going to have to do that by using the CDB, even though the long-term implications of that are absolutely horrible. Doesn't look like he's able to. He's pushed him all the way back to his base, so it's been working. But all this time, Goongoon's economy is still gathering resources. He's collecting a lot of wood, actually.
Exactly, because what else can he gather, right?
Yeah, so maybe that's true. That's exactly. He's pushed him off the food, and maybe that's enough. At this point in the game, when all the hunts, have ran out, and basically villagers just aren't worth as much anyway. Maybe it's that kind of game, but I don't necessarily think, whilst it's kind of like that, I don't think it's enough like that, if that makes sense. I don't think it's. They're still collecting some things, and he still has a larger villager population. He'll get back. It's not like that LordRaphael has cleaned up all of his units and has pushed them all the way back to his base. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but sure. So unfortunately for Goongoon, though, he's going to miss like a couple of reinforcement batches, because we can see he had 32 villagers on wood. He's got no one on food at the moment. I don't know if he's going to start buying food at the market. He's got a mill going up now, which is nice for him. But we can see him. He's going to try and push out with this 12 pikeman has just come in, because he knows he's not going to get reinforcements for a while, so his army's not going to grow in size, so he's going to try and use what army he has now.
Equally, though, LordRaphael's been walking around with his villagers, so his reinforcements are not going to be coming in as much either, so both players' armies are kind of stagnating here. Yes, 12 pikes do arrive. I don't think it's particularly useful right now, given that it's just a skirmore, but certainly anti-cavalry good to have nearby, especially when we can see a few curs and, of course, hussars being added in. 3 hussars, by the looks of it, arriving from LordRaphael.
Yeah.
He's run out of shipments to send. We've gotten to that point in the game.
Yeah, that's very surprising. You rarely see something like 3 hussars right now, but that kind of shows you how desperate this game is getting with all the low resources it's turning.
Look where those cav are going, though, straight towards where all of his villagers are. If he can... thing is, I mean, certainly he'll get $10 coming in from a Songy Duck. Song High on Duck, by the looks of it.
Interjection, please update the score.
Yeah.
Interjection, please update the score, he says. Okay. Lots of villages going down, but he should be able to clean this up with the Dragoons and the Pikemen coming in. At the same time, where is his skirmishes? He's leaving them a bit.
Ooh. So Goongoon notices the skirmishes slightly first, but there's 5 cuirassiers here, and are these pike going to be enough?
They might be for a short while, but they're just going to be walking around, not like they're going to be walking around scaring the cav away, but all the time they're walking around, right, those skirms are picking them off. They're now going to come back in, they're doing the little cav pike dance where you used to keep your pikes near the cav and the cav go away. But like, look at the skirms, they're picking them all off and they're all going to disappear pretty soon. There's not that many Dragoons, and then what do you do once all the pikes are gone? Then the Kurs will just land on the skirms, and that's going to be really hard for Goongoon to deal with.
But so luckily for Goongoon, he actually does have the biggest skirmisher mass, so he can kind of trade at range for a bit. These 4 Dragoons that he had were just enough as well to kind of help scare the cuirassiers off. But
Go ahead.
So the villager population has definitely been even. Is that what you're going to mention?
Yeah, it's completely tanked as a result of that raid here. LordRaphael finding himself back in a nice economic position. He's really cleaned this up. I think, pushing out with those CDB earlier, really forcing his opponent back off the available hunt in the middle of the map, really was what he needed. It seems to be working out just all right for him here. And Goongoon, though, still decisively ahead on score, but that might not stay the case for a while. Like, a lot of that score's locked up in this mill, right, stuff like that, which isn't really necessarily representative. An outpost going down over here, so that's another 2.5 score, stuff like that perhaps.
Yeah, also what I've only just noticed is Raphael's actually had a native scout in stealth mode kind of up towards this. Yeah, so that's been really nice from them, and probably what
he's been able to see that,
raid. Yeah, as normally you wouldn't kind of think, there's clearly going to be a mill in this top right location of the map behind the trading post. Normally it'd be closer to the town centre.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice for him, and it's still there, right? And so he's pushing up top.
Yeah, that's where his units are going. All of his CDB are going up there too. I thought they would stop off next to this hunt, but yeah, if he can take that location, right, that's 400 wood of mill gone. As well, like, if he can hold that area and also the area nearby next to these pronghorn, he's going to be in a good spot. But there are a lot of cuirassiers there coming in, and not really very many pikemen at all. I imagine he'll just slam the Kurs onto the pikemen, take them out really quickly, and there really aren't very many Dragoons. Just 3 plus 2 more being added in. Thankfully, though, a Rodellero shipment does arrive, but those do get picked off really quite easily at range by skirmishes, which is what is happening here. Lots of CDB getting caught up in this mess here. They're getting him really up close and personal in the face of the skirmishes here, so any attack move done by Goongoon, all of the damage is going to be onto the CDB. So to get any damage not on the CDB, he has to like deliberately right-click on units past the CDB. So really nice here, using them as sponges. Has of course greatcoats, and also has Wilderness Warfare come in as well to upgrade the hit points on the CDB here. Pushed him all the way back to his base there, and just getting the most that he can out of his army as a result of like the CDB's tanking. And now the final Cuirassier goes down, but look what he's done. He's managed to mass up a huge number of skirms relative to his opponent here, and Goongoon all the way in his base, and no army left, and no hunts available for him to gather. This mill area has been taken, no resources, and LordRaphael has the map, right?
That was a really, really nice push there by Raphael. He really abused the hit points of these Courier de Bois with the Wilderness Warfare shipment, and he just took out Goongoon's entire army. That was
and now look at this, these vills on the run as well.
Yeah, he's put himself into a fantastic position. Goongoon's really struggling now, especially if he loses all these vills. It's going to be really hard for him to get back into this. The cuirassiers are going to make sure none of those escape.
There's no way. Every single vill there just got executed, and now decisively in favor for both economic and military population. Goongoon does resign, and LordRaphael picks up this first game of his in this series. So the score now is 2-1. Thank you to the $10 donation earlier for reminding me to update the scores. I am sorry about that. That's very good of you. Thank you. But very well done by LordRaphael. A really, really nice game there.
Yeah, that was a really interesting one. That one could have gone either way at kind of so many points during that game. But we could see Raphael really using one of France's main strengths there, just having a stronger villager that can actually kind of engage in the fights as well. And whereas the Spanish villagers, they can't do that. And so on this low resource map, that kind of made the difference here and won in the game.
I really like maps like that where you really fight for the resources in this way. I think France and the villagers coming together here. Really enjoyed that one, so props to these guys for playing. But we will be right back with game number 4 in this series in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what will be game number 4 in this best of 7 series between LordRaphael and, of course, Goongoon. My name has been Interjection, casting alongside WickedCossack. We're just waiting for the next game room to be hosted, and then we can join. There it is, Goongoon, LordRaphael are in the next game. The next map is not Tassili. Do you know what it is?
Florida is the... actually, you know what, I'll post the remaining 4 maps just so they can kind of get a full picture of kind of what's coming up. So we got Florida, Pampas Sierras, and then if it gets that far, we've also got High Plains, and the final map would be Adirondacks.
All right. Can you tell us a bit about Florida? I'm not. Obviously, I've seen it, but remind me because I don't know all the newest ones
Sure.
by their names yet. So I need reminding what it looks like.
Sure. So this is actually it's kind of one of the newer ones, as you say, and it's a semi-water map. So we've got water on the right-hand side. It's a trading post map as well, but this time the trading posts, there are 4 of them again, but they go in a kind of a vertical line, and I think it's done that so you can only pick up 2 of them at a time. So that kind of makes it hard to do any stagecoach plays, as if you get 2, the enemy can kind of get 2 as well. But I actually quite like Florida, and the other thing about Florida is you start off with a market, so it's kind of very Silk Road-esque in that style, and that can kind of influence maybe what civs you would want to pick, as certain civs benefit a lot more from an early market than other ones do. So we'll see if that kind of factors into it. Interjection, what happened? Are you deserting us?
I accidentally clicked on an invite and then left. I've returned though.
Yeah, so they were just asking about the civilizations. They've got all the civilizations banned that they played in the previous first games. It's only in the next map that they'll get those back.
So, to recap for anyone tuning in or who hasn't seen something like this before, this is a best of 7 series, so effectively first to 4 wins. And the way this works is halfway through, which in a best of 7 will be game number 5, halfway through the series, the civilizations reset. And basically what that means is, well, right now, the civs they have already played games with are banned. They can no longer play those civilizations until that reset that I was mentioning. So far, LordRaphael cannot play Russia, he cannot play France, and he cannot play Dutch. Alright, so those civs are off the table here for this next map, which will of course be on Florida. Goongoon, on the other hand, he also cannot play Russia, Dutch, and now Spain that we just saw him lose with. So those civs are off the table for him. The next map is, of course, Florida, which you were describing for us.
So Goongoon's had to pick first, and he's settled on ports. Maybe we should check if ports is the kind of locked in for him, if that's his choice, and then Raphael will get the chance to counter pick, and I guarantee you he'll just pick ports. So spoilers, but yeah. So Portugal is kind of an interesting one, as I think it's possibly the civ that's kind of considered strongest at the moment. I think you know the balance is still being figured out a little bit with the patch, but I think there's kind of a general consensus that Port is definitely one of the strongest civilizations out there, and so I don't see Raphael not going for ports if Goongoon selects ports.
All right, so potentially a port mirror.
No.
Sec toilet. No.
No, he's not happy with that.
I think we'll wait for them rather than continuing to fill time.
Raphael is spending a while choosing this civ. He's gonna pick ports. Sorry, I don't know why he hasn't got it. Look, there we go. He types yeah. Possibly Germany. He could also throw out very strong Germans, but he's just toying around here. He's 100% gonna go ports. Possibly like a 0.5% Germans, but I don't see anything else.
So you're predicting a 99.5%.
Oh crap!
Okay. British can do well against Ports. Well, they do reasonably against Ports.
They can. Yeah, actually, fair play to him. So I kind of underrated Brits a lot recently, but a lot of other players feel they're really strong, and so Raphael kind of is going to maybe show that to us right now, that Brits are kind of top tier and that they can perhaps deal with Ports, and so it'll be interesting to see what strategy he uses here.
Certainly possible. Equally though, maybe Portugal just isn't a civ he likes to play. Maybe he just doesn't want to play Ports. Maybe it's not something he's comfortable with. That's also a big factor in these matchups. You know, the majority of players, just let's be honest, they only have a few civs that they're really quite good with, because there are so many in this game. So I think, you know, this tournament format also rewards players who are good with multiple civilizations. Maybe just Britain is something that he feels better about, and that is worthwhile too. It's worth thinking about.
Yeah, no. So his Brits are really solid. Again, that's just another one of these European civilizations that I think he's all of his civs that he's picked have been European ones so far. And actually, the same for Goongoon. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen India at all, Aztec, China, Ottomans. That I've kind of associated those civs with Goongoon a bit, but he's just playing straight up games with the European civilizations, and he's 2-1 up at the moment. So he's going to stick with it. Let's check if they are ready. I don't know if they're just... Yeah.
Yes.
So we're just sitting here.
Yeah.
I can't green in.
Oh.
Let me just restart the client.
Yeah, you might need a refresh there.
Oh, $20 coming in from Eagle Mutt. Pray for Raphael. Thank you, lady, for reading this.
Thank you, lady, for reading this.
Alright, game's loading now. Thank you, lady, for reading that. So, whilst you're here, Wicked Cossack, tell everyone why they should go and watch your video on the AOE3 live streams channel.
Oh no, I don't do shameless plug-in.
All right, I do though, so that's fine. So for those that don't know, well, I guess LordRaphael. Oh, here we are.
Oh,
so I'll say it later, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. All right. Actually, I will tell you now then, by the looks of it. Yeah, so Wicked Cossack, for those that don't know, earlier in the tournament played against H2O, and he's done 2 videos so far covering his thoughts. Effectively, a Wicked Cossack explains. And he's casting with me here right now. You can clearly see he's a knowledgeable guy, so go check out the AOE3 live streams channel. It doesn't have a URL yet, it will soon, but you can find it by going to my Interjection channel, and then it's one of the suggested channels down the side. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 5 in this best of 7 series between LordRaphael and Goongoon. It actually might be game number 4, not game number 5.
Yeah,
right.
game number 4. So we're kind of halfway through these series now. So
yeah. Well, game number 5 is the next one, and that's relevant because the civilization reset will kick in. This is our final game where they can no longer use the civilizations that they have already played in this series. So definitely interesting. No, this is not the Lake of the Moon map. I have seen this though. I've seen Ace play on this on his live stream. But yes, this is Florida, one of the new ESOC maps, similar to Bayou, at least up in the top here. And we do have water potential as well. I love how when the game's kind of paused like this, the whales are just sitting there floating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if maybe it doesn't spawn the same for everyone.
No, I can see
for...
that. They finally got going now, so...
they're having a nice little swim now. But the more interesting thing, here we do have Goongoon in the north of the map in the colour red, playing indeed as the Portuguese, with, by the looks of it, a 100 wood start. Has elected to... Well, research hunting dogs at the market he starts with.
Yeah, look how fast that was researched. That's got to be one of the fastest hunting dogs I've ever seen.
I guess that kind of happens when you start with the market. I wasn't aware that was the case, actually, so that's kind of cool. It's kind of like, it's reminiscent of the old Saguenay, where you start with a random economic building, but here, is it just a static market every single time?
Yeah, so you start off with a static market, and that's... So we got a slight pause here, but yeah. So the market's just nice for kind of jump starting your economy, and Brits and Portuguese are both going to benefit really nicely from this. I think Raphael probably would have been hoping for, say, the
Are you
300 wood start, as that
Yes.
would have allowed him to get down 2 manas and hunting dogs, which would have kind of given him.
Baby. Yeah,
Yeah,
would be
but
nice.
unfortunately he didn't get it. It was just kind of the single wood start. So that's actually probably possibly better for Goongoon here, as that allows him to. It doesn't matter if he starts with 100 wood or 200 wood. Really, I suppose he could have gone for an early trading post, but it's really hard to get that and hunting dogs and a house.
It's clearly better for British to start with that extra wood rate first, so they can get that that manor house down. An extra villager early on is really, really nice. So Portugal probably going to be quite happy about this wood start, just because it means his opponent won't have the extra wood due to the crate. What's going on though?
Hang on, yeah. Raphael's got a load of villagers on wood. I mean, I said he wasn't.
Oh, okay. And
manners,
there's a 20 wood treasure down here. Maybe look at that. He brings the villagers right back onto food as well. Only the gathering by 5, which I guess is not. It's 5 more than 0. But either way, right? He's going for the trading post. That's the interesting thing. He's delaying his age up to get this, and I personally quite like this. I'm not sure what the implications of this are going to be on the rest of the game. Certainly, he's going to be up to the next stage a lot slower, and that does mean his shipment progression is going to be worse. But with the as what I mean by that is, his first 700 wood is going to arrive a lot later. The trading post does kind of help that out a bit, so it kind of fixes the problem a little, but it's still going to be delayed in the speed at which they come out. Portuguese first shipment is going to be way faster. Look how much food he has. Until he just queued that villager, he had basically what would be 600 food. He's going to be aging up pretty soon. British, really far behind in terms of food. He might want to consider eating these sheep just to get up a little bit faster on time. Has found quite a few of them, actually, so it's pretty nice for him. But if he does that, he won't have them for later on. But, yeah, trading post. What do you make of this?
Yeah, so it's interesting to... Oh, that's unfortunate he's got a sound bug there, but it's interesting to note that the trading post wasn't actually up in time to benefit him getting his free settlers any earlier. So his free settlers kind of arrived at exactly the same time they would if he didn't have a trading post. So normally with the trading post, we kind of see the Virginia company. So it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to...
Yeah, it's in his deck. That option is available. We'll have to see if it will be... That would have to be his next shipment if that were to be the case, right?
Yeah, you can't send it any later than your second shipment. Sometimes we see people even shipping it first. But we should be able to tell if he's going to ship it, because if he will ship it, he will just bank a lot of wood rather than building the manors now. But so we can see when he reaches, say, 135 wood, if that goes into a manor,
then we'll know if whether or not he's going to do it. Yeah, that makes sense. And if he goes past that number, he's clearly waiting for it. So we're about to find out. 150 woods. There is a villager coming off. Perhaps he's going to go build a trading post near these hunts, or maybe it's just a herd. No, I think we are going to see Virginia company out of him decisively.
Absolutely.
So that's really exciting to see. I think we did see we did see Goodspeed doing this earlier in the tournament, and it was actually very effective, I believe, against Portugal. That's actually a matchup we have seen. So this perhaps a repeat of what Goodspeed did earlier against the Portuguese player, and it was actually really strong. It worked out really nicely for him. So Goongoon perhaps might have something to deal with. Perhaps LordRaphael has tried this. Maybe it's a build he has up his sleeve. We'll have to see. But either way, Goongoon now just hitting up to the next stage. 400 wood is, of course, going to be available on the floor, and, of course, his town centre wagon as well. Virginia Company has arrived. There is no doubt about it now. And here comes the enormous number of manors and the big villager spike for the British player there. Up to Colonial, Outpost, and 200 coin coming out. Now we will have to wait for their first shipments, which for British I think is quite obvious, the wood shipments. But for Portugal, what do you do against this? You haven't scouted it.
So he could still have a pretty good idea. So he's going to know the British have gone for a trading post, and that's if you don't ship Virginia Company, then maybe a trading post isn't quite as good as the Brits. So even though we haven't seen his explorer physically kind of go onto the other side of the map, he could certainly gather a pretty good idea, and especially that he's going to come across 4 manors.
He's going to know what's going down. Can he hover
Yeah.
over them and see that the cost has been reduced to 88 as well? I'm not sure if he can. Well, that's one way to find out. Either way, it's very obvious that there's so many going down, right? So, and yes, he most likely saw the trading post icon earlier, and he also, his opponent hit up quite late, so he probably knows what's going on here. And as a result of that, saved his shipment for age 1, didn't send anything like that, no ATP, and here is actually just going to go for 700 coin as his very first shipment, and his first colonial age shipment, obviously, and just save that extra shipment. Is this, like, indicative of, well, he's got a stable, so it's clearly not an FF
Can you
or something
update the
like
score interjection, by the way?
Oh yeah, I restarted my client, didn't I? That's why that's not fixed. Yeah, there we go, Edie. What's going on then? He's clearly going to be making cavalry, right? Five hussars do arrive, and going to do some raiding with us.
Yeah, so we're probably seeing Goongoon just go for the standard semi-FF. The one thing I am surprised about is that he hasn't taken a trading post, which usually you would want to do as Portugal. That's kind of really nice to be able to spam all those shipments in the Fortress Age. But he has sent 700 food. So that's going to mean that despite building 5 hussars, his fortress time should still actually be fairly solid. I don't expect to see him build any more hussars. Let me just check the units in queue notes. So he hasn't got any more on the way. So let's see what damage these hussars can get done, because there's so many villages out on the map, right? Yeah. So many. He gets one.
Does pick up one, nicely done. It's a shame he didn't have great coats research there. Pikemen, they do scare the cavalry away. He's not going to be able to get any more raiding done with those hanging around. Of course, very, very strong against the cavalry, and the town centre doing a bit of damage as well. But 700 and 600 would have arrived, and this is the final burst of manas that will be coming down for all of those extra villages, making super good use of those cheaper manas from the Virginia Company. So British, one hell of an economy really early on. Portugal, though, does scale a lot better, and with the 2 town centres. So as we go into the late game, he'll be able to even that up. But he needs to do something early on if he really wants to stand a chance of getting there. Does pick up 1 villager with the cavalry, but now these cavalry are sort of heading home. Maybe then pikemen now coming up to sort of the middle of the map. Perhaps he's looking to kill some villages in the middle of the map, but he really needs to get some early damage done with these cavalry whilst he's going up to the next stage, whilst he's preparing for that. And so far, 1 villager, I don't know if that's necessarily enough.
No, I'd agree. I think he needs to maybe get a couple more villagers. I'm surprised that Raphael still doesn't have the great coats. There's probably an upgrade that he's maybe forgotten here that could be really useful. But so Goongoon, he's currently up on his way to the Fortress Age, which is nice, and that's just because of the 700 food has kind of allowed him to do that really quickly. But I'm really concerned about not having this trading post. His infrastructure is very limited, and so we can see 700 woods just only come in, which means that he's not going to get another shipment for well, not too long anyway. I've just had a look at the XP bar.
It is almost there, but your point still stands. You want to be sending that shipment the second you hit upright, but he's not doing that. He's sending 700 wood. He's because of the lack of trading posts, this shipment progression throughout the entire Fortress Age, not just right now, is going to be quite slow, and that means that's a big part of going up to the Fortress Age, just to make use of those superior shipments. So only just managing to lay down his barracks there with that wood. I guess that's not the problem. The problem is the progression. But yeah, it's not looking too nice. Third TC does take up something to secure a mine and sort of 2 nearby hunts, 1 turkey, 1 deer. But here comes the British player. He sees his opponent just hitting up. And, given that he's only just sent the next shipment, it's not going to be arriving for a while. These longbowmen are probably going to be belling up these villages for quite some time.
Yeah. He's getting big batches as well. We just saw a batch of 9 musketeers, 5 hussars coming out, which are going to pick off 2 of Goongoon's hussars. So we can see Raphael's massive economy is just kicking in now, and he's got a big time in here, which Goongoon might not be able to hold, and that's just because he's just got his 1 stables and his racks and no TP, so his shipment's going to be slow.
He's caught the TC as well. He's going to be able to take that out before it's fully built. And even if it does go up, it's going to have so few hit points, it's just going to be destroyed. Yeah, going to go down completely.
Wow.
Third town centre is denied, despite being... maybe that needed to go up behind his base somewhere, though that wouldn't have been a very nice spot. Thankfully, 8 Cassadors do arrive in combination with the few that he has managed to train, also those 2 Dragoons. But look at the number... he's got a good portion of longbowmen, a few cavalry, musketeers as well, a 3-unit composition here up against what is just a small number of Cassadors. Just 2 Dragoons available to shoot these hussars off, and with 3 more cavalry being added in here, these Cassadors could be toast. Pulling the Vils in, perhaps.
Yeah, he has to watch out for the Minutemen. He's stuck in between 2 town centres, so we can see 1 lot of Minutemen's come out, but his they're quite far away from the hussars, so these castadors are just getting taken down.
Oh, they're being
really badly.
They're being ripped to shreds by these. That's so good for LordRaphael. The value here of these cavalry is absolutely enormous. I wonder if Goongoon missed a batch on his dragoons or something at the stable, or maybe he just didn't have the resource. Either way, the fact that he didn't have enough anti-cavalry there just meant the castadors got wrecked, and as a result of that, now he's going to find it very tough to come back.
All his villagers are garrisoned. Every single one is in the town.
And there are no...
so
Goongoon resigns there. Game number 2. Win number 2 for LordRaphael here in this 4th game. The score is now 2-2. That was a pretty quick and decisive win there for LordRaphael, bringing the score back up to even. And going into this next match, he does have the advantage... No... Quickly correct me here.
Who picks first? So Goongoon picked first this time, so Raphael picks first in game 5.
Okay, so going into this next game with the advantage as well. So really shaping up to potentially come back and win this series here, despite, at first being 2 games down to 0. So really nicely done from LordRaphael there. Really interesting use of the Virginia Company there, coming out against Portugal, showing us, as you mentioned earlier, that Britain, perhaps one of the top tier civs, and can face off against Portuguese here. Though perhaps nothing, not to take away from LordRaphael, but maybe things just didn't come together properly for Goongoon. This build, without the trading post, did look a bit, perhaps not what he was hoping for. And maybe Britain is shining through a bit stronger than it ought to look. But either way, a nice win from LordRaphael, and this series definitely shaping up. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back with the next video in just a moment.
Age of Empires 3, the Asian Dynasties.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what will be game number 5 in this best of 7 series between LordRaphael and Goongoon. The score is 2-2, shaping up to be a very interesting series, and I would just like to say a quick thank you to Peaslot for a unknown amount of donation. Sadly, apparently I missed it, so I am sorry about that, but thank you very much for your generosity. Of course, all donations received on this stream do go to funding future tournaments, and what that means is that we can bring you more tournaments. All of our tournaments are $1,000 each, and basically the more donations we receive, the more often we can do these. So, really generous. Thank you very much for that, supporting the Age of Empires 3 tournament scene here. Definitely nice to see all of the support today. Quite a bit of money raised, actually. Really nice. So, thank you to all of you who have donated. We'll get back to this game, I think. We do have Pampas Sierras coming out as our next map. It is worth pointing out that the civilizations have reset. They can now play any civilization that they like. And the next person to pick will be LordRaphael. He's picking first. So, actually, everything I said about the advantage in the previous match, just ignore me. For some reason, I thought picking first was the favourable thing. No, that is not the case. So, LordRaphael picking first. So, Goongoon here has the advantage, does now get to pick a civilization that will perhaps be good for him. We'll see what LordRaphael picks, and then Goongoon can pick afterwards. Pampas Sierras.
So the main difference, I suppose, in this map is it's going to be our first, or actually no, it's going to be our only map that doesn't feature a trading post. So that certainly is going to influence the civ choice on this map. Perhaps we could see maybe a bit of India. There's on the left hand side of the map, there spawns a few llamas that if you know where they spawn, you can pick up a good chunk of llamas. I think there's about 8 or 9, and often on the right-hand side of the map is where we see most of the decent treasures spawn. So you've kind of got 2 options. Do you want to go to the left and get the livestock, or to the right and get some treasures?
Yeah.
If they went for something like India, they can kind of do both with 2 explorers. So,
yeah, that's true. Or really any civilization with an extra scouting unit is going to be valuable here. So stuff like France with the native scout, perhaps even Dutch with the envoy, though that does move a bit slower, so it's perhaps less desirable. Not going to get as many llamas as your explorer goes to the other side. But yeah, Japan, India, any civ with an extra explorer, definitely going to be valuable here. And that could absolutely influence their decisions. In Pampas Sierra is a good map to pick a civ that does have, of course, 2 explorers, as you were mentioning. So LordRaphael does pick first. We will see if he does choose to go with that double sort of extra helping hand scouting unit.
Yeah, I've set up my 10-minute LordRaphael picks his Civ timer.
All right.
So we still got about 9 minutes till he
Still got
makes
9 minutes until he makes a decision. All right. So we're gonna.
it's a long way to go.
Oh,
no, there we
Dutch
go.
coming out. Okay, so the
Excellent.
envoy here is definitely something that will be valuable, as we were mentioning. But also Dutch, a civilization LordRaphael is definitely fond of. We saw him earlier, though sadly lose to Goongoon. I wonder if Goongoon will go for the Dutch mirror that he, that we saw earlier, where Goongoon was victorious. Perhaps Goongoon will be confident and go for it again. Or maybe LordRaphael, thinks, even if he does that, that'll be fine. I lost the first one, but I reckon I can take him on again, no problem. We'll have to see what he decides.
Yeah, at this point in the series, I think it'd be nice to maybe see a shift away from these European civilizations. We kind of seen a lot of the Europeans, so I'd like to see Goongoon bust out maybe his Aztecs. I think his Aztecs can be quite strong. He played that against Emu, and that was one of the matchups he won. I think it was an Aztec mirror on Indonesia, so it'd be nice to see if something like that comes out. But I think, he won the previous Dutch mirror. If it's not broke, why change it up? Indeed,
to make his
my
decision.
timer's on about 7 or 6 minutes now, so still a bit to go.
All right, plenty of time for Raphael to warm up his hands. Russia.
Yeah, different.
Okay.
Different
Not the civilization I was anticipating. Certainly doesn't have the extra explorer that we were going on about. It's not a misclick by the looks of it. He's greened in there. He's ready to go. Russia has been his selection here. What do you think of Russia versus Dutch? Like, ignoring the map here, what is this matchup like for him?
So this is actually a nice matchup. It's pretty good even on the robot patch. So the idea is Russia can kind of they put on the early aggression, and Dutch has kind of got to defend a bit and see if they can get up to the fortress age, as Dutch can only really fight Russia for maybe the first 10 minutes or so in colonial age. And so Dutch will be looking to get up to the fortress age, and then it's up to Russia to kind of just outswarm him and
make that as hard as possible.
Yeah.
Right, so Goongoon going to be playing a matchup that's perhaps reasonable, even though he might not be able to get all of those llamas down the side here, and might be giving up some of the good treasures. Mind you, having said that, there's only really 80 coin that's available on the right-hand side that's actually good. Not Inca Humanica, 90 coin. There's not that many good treasures. So with regards to treasures, he's not giving up much. But we do have LordRaphael spawning in the south of the map in the colour blue, playing as indeed the Dutch, spawning with all coin but one. I think ideally he'd like a second wood crate, but that does mean Russia will only get the one wood crate as well, which, if Russia is going to be aggressive, is a good thing, because they will be able to, they'll have to chop more wood for their blockhouse or whatever it is they want to do. So Dutch probably not going to be unhappy about that. The coin's certainly useful, obviously, for the villagers. So, probably the crate start here favouring the blue player, I would say. But we can see the envoy heading up. Looks like he wants to kind of head up towards the top of the map, maybe get into the middle of where the llamas are with the envoy, whilst the explorer covers the sort of lower half of the map here. In the meantime, Russia is going to find one llama, and there are 3 behind as well, so hopefully he'll be able to find them. But by the looks of it, and actually, that's actually pretty good for him. LordRaphael, by the looks of it, going to get 3 as well.
Yeah, so these llamas are in kind of really high priority there. Raphael chose not to completely split up his two, his explorer and his envoy. He's using them to get as many llamas as he can, and it's kind of going to pay off. I think he's going to get.
He does pick up this
6,
extra one.
Yeah,
So-
he'll get 6 llamas in total to Goongoon's 2 llamas.
So that's really nice.
Yeah, and that
Envoy
wasn't
coming into
because
play.
Goongoon. That wasn't because Goongoon didn't really care about the llamas too much. Because I noticed at the start, he had a 40 food treasure which he used his crack shot on, but he didn't actually pick it up with his explorer because he knew that would be wasting too much time. So he did the crack shot and then he immediately headed over to try and secure as many llamas as he could get, which is 2. It's not bad. He'd probably be hoping for 3, I suppose, 3 llamas. But two's not the end of the world. As long as Raphael didn't, pick up every single llama, that's kind of a position that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, 6 llamas to 2 is still really good. It makes me wonder, though, because you mentioned Russia wants to kind of hold Dutch in place, stop them from going up to the fortress age for free, really make them pay for that investment. And, all right, well...
got some out-of-game sportsmanship going on, I suppose.
I guess so. Well, 5 minutes. I think I'll finish my line of thought, and then we will just not say anything for a while, so that it's much easier to edit for whoever does that. But
All right, okay.
yeah, I was going to say, I do wonder... Well, I'll just say it later. Or shall I say it now? I'll say it now. Yeah, I do
Well,
wonder
you
if...
ruined it now. No, I don't know. It's all. Well,
Gotta help his father.
it'll be alright.
His father
Yeah.
needs help, Wicked Cossack.
I know. Well, no, this is important. Being a European, it's all it's all community and family, and this is nice. We can't begrudge Raphael for helping out.
Yeah.
But
what if he has to, use his hands and stuff? The blow dryer warmth is gonna...
Well, maybe his dad probably wants him to hold a torch, so he can fix something in his car. I suppose.
Is that what you think it
He'll be
might
the torch holder. Yeah.
I see. The torch bearer. Hopefully hopefully that'll keep his hands nice and warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of disrupts his rhythm a little bit because you kind of have to get out of the chair as well, so that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that is a thing that occurs. You do indeed have to get out of your chair to help.
Yeah, that sounds really really stupid. You have to get out of your chair, right? But
there's a facet of it.
Yeah. But it's just to disrupt your rhythm a bit. So hopefully it won't be too long.
Time to reply to some text messages.
Oh, that's a good idea. Actually, I can alt tab and check all the stuff.
All the messages screaming at you to
That
tell
we missed,
Interjection to update the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, I've had quite a few of those.
Yeah, so have I. It is updated now, thankfully.
All right, thank good.
And just when I thought it was updated, I had to restart the game, and then that stopped it from being updated.
Yeah.
I did rather enjoy that game number, whatever it was.
What, the last one? Or the one before? Which one? We've had so many.
Well, not the one before this one was a bit of a one-sided game, but the one before that I quite liked. Spain and France.
Oh, the Spain. Oh, that was nice. That was nice. Oh, okay.
Hey there. I spelt it wrong.
Is this sorry isn't he's back or sorry he needs more time?
Sorry, I gotta go.
Are you ready?
Oh, nice.
You win this series, Goongoon. I gotta go. Alright. That's not the case. We are, by the looks of it, 1 sec closing stuff.
Closing stuff, eh?
Alright.
Wow. Yeah.
Stuff is good to close. Alright, we are ready. I'll let them.
Are you
pause it.
ready?
Alright. Welcome back, everybody. So what I was going to say is basically, he's got 6 llamas, right? And in the early game, those can be eaten for basically extra food, very fast gathering food, right? These are going to be about 150 food by the time he wants to eat them, something like that. And that might actually help him get up to the Fortress Age much easier. So maybe that's going to alleviate some of the pressure that Russia's going to be applying to him, these llamas that he managed to secure. So Dutch and the extra envoy coming into play, whereas if this were on another map, those llamas wouldn't be available at all, and Russia's pressure would be in full force. Either way, Goongoon going to be going ahead with Russia here. By the way, for picking up a 90 coin treasure, that's one of the better ones. As I mentioned earlier, there was only a few good ones on this map. 90 coin, certainly going to be useful for putting on the pressure. It means he'll have to collect less coin for his musket batches and things like that. Always good to find the free resources. In the meantime, LordRaphael scouting the sort of right-hand side of the map, not coming across anything in particular. I wonder where his explorer's going. He's sort of heading back a bit now.
He did actually get 120 XP. I think there were free wolves or free coyotes guarding it. But yeah, no, so that's really nice, and that's just gonna smooth over kind of any kinks in his build if he needs to get out a wood shipment or something. So actually, that's a really nice shipment to come across as Dutch, and he's gonna find that really useful. But also getting an 80 coin as well, and with just those 6 llamas, he's gonna be really pleased with kind of just how this is played out in Age 1.
Yeah. Yeah, really nice. And 80 coin as well, which for Dutch is much better than other civilizations I get, because it can be used early on to help train the villagers and things like that. It means less villager gather time on the gold. In fact, he's not going to need any villager gather time on the gold. I reckon the remaining number... What do we see here? 2 forward vills. There we go. The rush is coming.
Yeah, and immediately scouted as well, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
he's going to follow them. He's going to
Raphael.
know where that... He can't get his blockhouse too far forward now because you cannot risk Dutch calling Minutemen or something like that. He saw his opponent pick up an 80 coin treasure. He knows he's got potentially coin available for Minutemen, and he's going to have to place a mid sort of map blockhouse, and he's going to be able to start sieging this with Mikkel Studfasant. So that's pretty good for him too, since he knows exactly where the blockhouse is.
So actually against Dutch, usually you don't have to be too worried about Minutemen as long as you track the how many coin treasures they picked up. As we can see in transition, this is what any Dutch does. They have all their villagers on food and wood. So unless they've actually gathered 150 coin in treasures or are close to, you don't really need to worry about Minutemen. So I think that's probably why Goongoon, he only sent out 2 villagers. He didn't need to send out 3 or 4 villagers, kind of enough, just to get that up.
He's alright with it. But yeah, only actually more. Never mind. I was going to say that 90 coin treasure was going to be used for getting the villager in queue, which he got, obviously. Not Minutemen by the looks of it. Envoy does look like he's going to go down. No more scouting for you. But Stable is coming out, market and a house with his 400 wood. And I'm sure we'll see their first shipments any moment now. Russia going to be going for 5 Cossacks, I would imagine. And mounting the aggression quite early on. On the other hand, LordRaphael... We'll have to see what he starts with. Potentially 700 wood.
Yeah, so he's...
Bank
wagon. Yeah, so usually against more aggressive civs, you actually start off with the bank wagon rather than the 700 wood, just because the bank wagon starts kind of gathering instantly. So ideally, you'd always want to ship the 700 wood, but it's just a bit awkward trying to pick that up when there's kind of 5 Cossacks in your base and then trying to build slow building banks with villagers. So the bank wagon's kind of the safer option against the aggression that Goongoon's going to put on here with his 5 Cossacks. So let's see if he gets any villagers. Raphael's been pretty diligent, moving all his villagers in. Looks like he's not going to lose any.
He's not lost any, but at the same time, though, he's had them all built up, so he's losing some resources there, and his explorer is going to get picked off as well. Only 3 cavalry do come out. Sadly, was not able to get that final one in. Didn't have enough coin for that 4th hussar. Had the food available, but not the coin there. And not going to be hugely... good. Maybe they'll be good against those 3 Cossacks if he catches them sort of on their own. They're going to find it harder to come and raid him up close and personal now. But with the musketeers on the field, those three hussars not going to be great defensively, but he can use them offensively, which is what he's doing here. He's sending them off towards his opponent's base and going to pick up perhaps a few villager kills whilst his opponent is all his military is not there. He's basically an empty base here. Free reign to perhaps bell up these villagers, maybe get a kill or 2 whilst Goongoon's sieging down this house. Equally, though, he is sieging down the house, and that is a problem he'll have to deal with. Nice 4 Cossacks coming back home.
That was a beautiful timing, yeah.
That was... you could so easily have sent it to the blockhouse by mistake there, but, either anticipating that these were going to be coming up that way, saw them sort of exit the base. He did see those 3 cavalry, or maybe it was a last minute, holy crap, there's some cav in my base, I'm just going to ship the 4 Cossacks home, and cleans them up. Really well done from Goongoon, really nice to see.
And he's taken down a house at the front as well. Yeah, so I believe in that Cossack versus Hussar fight. Raphael thoughts. Oh, yeah, no, the pikemen. Well, they're going to be able to snare the musketeers a bit. I noticed in that fight earlier, I think Raphael misclicked a little bit. He pulled one of his hussars back that wasn't being attacked, and so that kind of made it go a bit more in Goongoon's favour. Usually, I think the 3 hussars can kind of deal okay with the 4 Cossacks there, but Goongoon's kind of come out of this pretty well. He's managed to get a house, and he's kind of deflected the aggression, the counter-aggression that Raphael tried to put on while losing no villagers of his own, that's pretty important.
Yeah.
And yeah, so his army's still in a good shape. He's got still a lot of Cossacks on the map, and we'll see if he can
Rex
get
going
anything
down.
else done.
Cabinet, not too good. Pikemen coming in, they'll scare the Cossacks away, so they won't have any problems there. But now, in range of those musketeers, those pikemen are going to be taking damage. Fortunately, it does buy him enough time to get the racks up. Pikemen on the Cossacks, really nice for him there, and 2 cavalry going to do some damage too. I'm not actually sure. I think Russia might not have this one here. This isn't too good. Equally, though, Goongoon did force his opponent to send those 8 pikesmen, though, and that is a win either way. But LordRaphael, despite losing those cav in his opponent's base, now cleaning this army up back at home with a fresh batch of cavalry in conjunction with the 8 pikemen. So nicely done, and all he did was pay 1 house for it.
Yeah, so the pikemen actually do surprisingly well against Russia's units, even if they got a low count of musketeers, just because they're not as strong as the other musketeers. So it can actually be a bit hard to judge fights early on with Russian musketeers. I think Goongoon probably thought maybe he wasn't going to lose as much as that, but those 8 pikemen just cleaned it up. And really nice for Raphael as well when he sent his hussars to attack. Just now he actually scouted the stable as well, which I'm not sure he'd seen before. Okay. So kind of. I suppose that's to be expected that the Russians will put down an extra stable, right? But it just gives him a bit more knowledge that he knows that Goongoon's maybe not jumping up to the fortress stage or whatever. So just a little bit of extra information there that he's got.
Good to see.
Yeah,
and some nice working with these cav that he's raiding with. You saw the villagers try and get in hand combat and move them away from the hand combat, so the villagers had to do range damage, which obviously isn't quite as efficient here. 5 musks do get cleaned up by the remaining pikemen and the hussars, sadly, before the other 5 could join them. Strength in numbers, and sadly they were not together, so that strength was not there. And really nice pickup for LordRaphael. So he's managed to pick up some villager kills, and if we do the recalculated economic unit population, is ahead of Russia there. And that's really good for him. That's exactly where he needs to be. And now, by the looks of it, should be able to get up to the next stage. I think he's done a reasonable job fighting Russia, and should be in and he's got these llamas as well. Has he been eating them? I wonder if that's how he's been doing.
So I guess
he's only got one
llama left. Yeah. So that's kind of his next job now, that he's got to somehow he's got to get up to the fortress age, and I think this might be kind of a good opportunity for him to do that, as he can't. I mean, he can't stay in age 2 for too long, but we can see 13 Strelets has just arrived, so he's got to age up while at the same time defending another push coming in from Goongoon. So that's going to be a bit hard. But this 700 coin is going to help him out a bit. I think we might see him maybe make a few more units when he sees how many units Goongoon has, and he might bail out of trying to age up. We can see I don't know, he's banking a lot.
You hold the fort. 1 sec.
Yeah, so Goongoon's got a lot here, and I don't know if Raphael can afford to actually age at this point. I think it might be possible. He still hasn't spent any of his food and coins, so I think he is going to go up to Fortress. But it's going to be hard for him. Goongoon's got a lot of stuff in. He's going to get another house down.
All skirmishes do come out. Does he have Minutemen? Yes, he has Minutemen available. He's going to have to call those. There they are. Maybe he can do like those cav walking around the mine and then to trying to get into position. So losing a lot of time doing that. Does have 3 cavalry on the Strele, so that's really nice. And is going to be able to pull in these villages as well. Minutemen going to be really effective. Do lots of damage. He's actually managed to clean this up. I think this is actually a really good fight for LordRaphael.
Really nice. Yeah,
decisively, I thought he was going to have some trouble. 700 coin arrived for Russia. He made a bunch of cav out of that, and then 13 Strele. And when that all arrived in his base, and he was thinking about aging up, that's actually quite tough to deal with. Really nicely done, using the sort of with a combination of the way he's built his base. The cavalry fighting it hard. They have to walk around a lot. Managed to get those 3 cav into position on the Strele, whilst the cavalry were trying to get over here. So they were not, the cavalry were free to do that. There was nothing stopping them. The Cossacks were not able to stop them since they were over here whilst this was happening. Also called the Minutemen, got full value out of them because the engagement had already started and his opponent couldn't back out. So really nicely done from LordRaphael there. 5 more Hussars joining Cossacks joining the fray, but I think the Hussar's going to be fine, especially since he's got some ranged infantry to back them up as well, and not to mention, more cavalry. So 3 cavalry shipment there.
Yeah.
I wonder if the 3 cav really is needed here. Certainly there was a fight happening, and he was sending them.
So, I mean, he made the right decision to. He obviously had units in queue, and he made the batches rather than kind of deciding to go up to Fortress. That would have been a bad decision, as Goongoon would have caught him totally out there. But yeah, he still somehow has to get up to Fortress. He can't leave it like this, kind of in age 2. And Goongoon's got a lot of map control. His economy is not bad. If you ever look at the kind of the recalculated economic unit population, it's not too far behind. And in a Russia versus Dutch, that's kind of, that's all right. You're expected to be behind. So I think Raphael, he somehow needs to get up to the Fortress age, right?
He's banking the resources for it. Yeah. He's trying to do that. Maybe he'll queue some more. But Russia, unrelenting. Here he comes. And those cav are in a really good spot to just take on the low HP Minutemen and the skirms here. The blue Hussar's going to find it troublesome to actually get and deal with the Cossacks. Though, sadly, he's been given enough time to get in range there. 5 cav do pop out around the side, going to bring them around the mine, engage the musks here. And Goongoon cannot escape. Yet again, Dutch clears up the Russian threat, and really, really convincingly.
Yeah, so he's done really well, and this time
So
Raphael
brutal.
does have the resources to try and get up to Fortress, so we'll finally see him get there, and he's in a fantastic position now. That was just the cleanup he needed. Goongoon kind of threw away, say, what was that, about 9 Cossacks and 5 Musketeers, and he really didn't get much done at all with that. So that was a big chunk of his army that Goongoon lost there. And so Raphael's in a fantastic position. We can see that reflected in the score. He's got a huge score advantage. I mean, so Dutch is normally up in score anyway, but not by
that
about
much.
the
That's
50,
an
the 50
enormous-
points he's up. But yeah.
I wonder what you do now at this point. I was thinking, Lord Raphael's 3 cavalry shipment perhaps wasn't needed. Maybe he should, just try and get up to the Fortress Age. But here, proving useful. And now, what do you do as Goongoon? You've I think at this point you realise, okay, Dutch is going to be going up. I can't stop him. Look, he's almost halfway there with the age up fast option. At this point, as Russia, do you just drop back and accept that fact and then go up yourself? And because you have to kind of do that. There's no way you can keep putting on the pressure here. Or the other option, which is appearing to be what he is doing, is to continue making units such as the Musketeers and the Cossacks that he is doing. Lord Raphael is now up to the next stage, and I think he's completely okay. He's going to be...
So Goongoon, he can try another timing, but Raphael's actually sent the colonial militia card. So this essentially renders any timing that Goongoon's going to come up with, it renders it useless. As if those militia come out of the town centre, that will swing the fight so badly. And I don't know if Goongoon's realised this. If he has, he should probably just try and back up and try and get his mass. But even though Raphael spent resources to go up to the next stage, his army's still really big. He's got so many hussars there.
Yeah, and I imagine veterancy will be coming in shortly on the hussars as well. Make them a bit stronger. What do we see? What's it?
There are a few villages. So we got 3 villages down here that will get picked off, and there's another 3 villages a bit more to the north.
Yeah, that's really good right now. But I feel like he needed to pick up those villager kills earlier for this to be really, really valuable. I mean, right, villager kills at any time is good, but the earlier the better. And I don't think it was early enough. Here we do have a fight. I imagine veterancy coming in any second if he's taking it. And the camp melting away. A few Reuters now joining the fray. That's going to even this up in this fight here. That's going to be really good for him.
Yeah, so those Musketeers from Goongoon did it about as well as they could have done, but there was just so many hussars there. But even so, I think that was actually an okay trade.
It's still an okay fight, and it does eliminate. Oh, for Goongoon, yeah, actually, yes, yeah, I guess so. I think perhaps Lord Raphael ought to have waited for those Reuters to ride, and veterancy never came in. Yeah, 4 more Reuters joining the fray, and a shipment of Reuters as well. I feel like all of these things that are just arriving now ought to be what he should have waited for before engaging there. But equally, there was the threat of the 3 villagers up here dying if he did nothing. Perhaps he thought he could neutralize that threat. Either way, does clean it up. But could have gone more favourably for him. The score advantage is still very much in favour of Lord Raphael, but Goongoon catching up, not as far behind as he was before. So a good trade for him.
Yeah, so Raphael's got to try and find a hunt to gather safely from. As we can see, he's got 16 villages on coin. He has 5 banks on coin as well. I think he just might be buying food from the market.
Maybe he should reconfigure the banks to food.
Yeah, if that
only.
was possible.
Yeah, if only.
And we can see Goongoon. He's just fortifying his kind of fortifying the hunts. He's getting blockhouses up, and so he still has map control, even though he's an age behind and his army's not very big. And so Raphael's going to have to look to try and overturn this map control.
I think so.
We got the Reuters.
They are coming in. They're going to get some villager kills. They're going to have to pull the Russian army over here. Strele coming in. They're certainly good against Reuters, but there's just not enough of them, and those Cossacks aren't going to be any help at all. So I think the Strelets are going to turn up, but I think Lord Raphael could just continue, just kill the Strelets, and like this fight is actually a good one for him to take.
Yeah, those Strelets are...
I think he's more concerned chasing the Vils around.
Yeah, but Goongoon might use this opportunity to raid a bit with his Cossacks. If all the Reuters are on the left, right, we can see his Cossacks coming in, and they found a nice coin mine. But Raphael's got a few units there to try and defend, but he might lose. One village is going down. I think his second one should go down. Meanwhile, Raphael, at the same time, he's still moving his Reuters. Goongoon, he moves his villagers out of the way to try and save them, but there's a lot of multitasking going on at the moment.
Yeah, in lots of different places, I suppose. much more Strelets coming out, and this is a much healthier number of Strelets to take a fight with. Though he does need to start shooting if he walks straight through them. No punishment at all. Could have got a reasonable amount of damage there. I mean, whilst that's not particularly many Strelets, it was more than it was before.
Yeah.
So you could have done some damage to those Strelay, with the time to multiplier, definitely very good. And no punishment, just gets to walk straight through the Strelay, pick up a Vil, and then exit this area as well with obviously more knowledge. He now knows this is here. These two blockhouses, no fight actually occurred around here, and the hunts are kind of drying up in that area. There's only sort of this one left. He'd need to herd it closer to the blockhouse. So those blockhouses perhaps not going to be as useful. LordRaphael really running the Russian player ragged.
He is, but he's still so low on food. I'm sure he must be buying food at the market. He's only got 7 Vils on food, so he needs to secure himself a hunt pretty soon before Goongoon's mass gets back up. And it is, look how many infantry units we got now. It's almost
it's bounced back up.
Or 50, and so if Raphael doesn't kind of get a hunt under his control soon, this could kind of spiral a bit out of control. I think he's in a fine position for now, but he's got to be a bit careful.
I mean, okay, so I wonder what he could be buying. Goongoon's stacking a lot of food. 2,000 food there. That is quite a lot. Maybe that's mismacroing. Oh, we'll see. I'm sure or maybe he has intentions of going up to Fortress, something like that. We'll see what he does. He's retasked quite a lot of villagers to coin, by the looks at 24 on coin.
Wow. Where are all these villagers going from Goongoon? Like, he headed over to the stable rather than the blockhouse. He's going to lose. He's going to lose 10 villagers.
That's a lot. That's no good for him. And he's taken a fight back. Colonial Militia do arrive, and that's going to clean up these Strelay. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. He's just waiting for Russia to push in so he can make use of this shipment here. He's in a good spot now. He's just taken out a whole bunch of Vils.
Fantastic.
Should now, off the back of these militia, should be able to push out and regain control of some of the hunts, and that's exactly what he needs right now.
This is all just going to get cleaned up right here, actually.
Yeah.
That went fantastic for Raphael. Yeah,
Goongoon has resigned, yeah. Cavalry going to get in combat here. They're not going to be able to escape. Tons of militia still at half-life. 26 range damage there. Going to clean up this Russian army, push out, then recapture the food sources, and it'll be in just a fine spot there.
I don't think he was hiding the Vils.
No, he just didn't have any Vils on food. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was just buying it at the market. Yeah, he did have a few kind of on the right and that. But that game seemed actually quite close, maybe 2 minutes ago. But it just kind of all flipped on its head there.
What if Russia had never came in like this, and never got a good opportunity to call colonial militia, and that shipment would not be as effective? He could just continue to sit on the hunts, grow his mass, something like that.
Yeah, there's always what ifs, but we kind of saw a lot of multitasking in this game. There was so much going on. I think that's kind of why we saw at the top with the Reuters, Goongoon didn't realize his Strelets could have got lots of shots off there. There was just so much going on. And in these games, things can kind of run away with you when you realize your whole army's out of position, and it's really hard just to control where your army should be at every point in the game. We can see Raphael was pretty solid. He made a lot of the right decisions in his army positioning here, and he caught Goongoon out a bit, I suppose.
Yep. And I think they came in, as you're mentioning, lots of multitasking, but they came down here because they saw, he saw his opponent raiding him, and he thought, okay, whilst your unit's away, I'll bring these down, something like that. But yeah, does get his army cleaned up, and victory number 3 going to LordRaphael. He is now on match point after being 2 games down. Brings it all the way back up. Could potentially win the series if he takes the next game. Goongoon, he's gonna have to play well. He's got 2 games to win in a row without losing any if he wants to take this series. So we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. My name has been Interjection, casting alongside WickedCossack. Do follow the stream if you would like to see more Age of Empires 3 tournament action. This is the round of 8, aka the quarter-finals between LordRaphael and Goongoon, a best of 7. Do sign up to our site, eso-community.net. We host the largest Age of Empires 3 forum on the internet. And we host our own patch, which, of course, all of our tournament games are played on. Do download that do download that, it'd be good. But yeah, we will be back in just a moment with the next game. Alright, I'm excited. Game number 4. This is win
Yes.
Game number 4. Game number 6.
Yeah, it's been a good series. It hasn't hasn't been one-sided at all. They both kind of had their moments. They've both gotten in some nice plays, some nice wins. And yeah, we're getting to the end. I'll probably post the maps again because they will no doubt would have asked for them. There we go. Yeah. So we got High Plains coming up. That's our next map.
High Plains, ESOC High Plains coming out. But in this next match, I believe. Oh god, I can never remember who's picking first. So Goongoon is going to pick first here. He can no longer play Russia because he just played that civilization. LordRaphael can no longer play Dutch because he just played their civilization. So Goongoon, not necessarily in the best spot if he's to come back and win this series. Advantage to LordRaphael now. They've been alternating all series as to who picks first going into the next matchup. So Goongoon here has to select his next map civilization first, and the map will be High Plains. So we'll see what he picks, and then afterwards LordRaphael can choose one in response. So Goongoon's Civ here, he needs to pick one that does well on a trading post map, which is High Plains. Has very. So Portugal potentially could come out here. Also Spain, I think they do very well on high TP maps, so he might pick one of those. His best odds though are to pick a Civ that is not easily hard countered by anything in particular. So we'll see what he has. I think Portugal is probably the best bet here, right?
Yeah, so I don't think we've actually seen advanced trading posts used in this series.
If it's to be used though, it's going to be used on this one.
Oh yeah. This is very likely that we could see it here. And I suppose your two big advanced trading post civs, they are the Portuguese and they are the Spanish, and so they both could do pretty well on this matchup. But I would agree that kind of Portugal is. Or Spain, yep. So Goongoon, he's favouring Spain. We've seen that he's already played that once in this series, and that was a game that he won. No,
he did not win with that one.
It was a very close game
against
France. He played
France.
very well.
Yeah, but I think here High Plains is a map where Spain can be used more to their full potential. The bigger trading route, ATP, is going to be more effective. I think certainly the advanced trading post build is the stronger one to do with Spain at the moment, if the map is appropriate for it. And I don't think Spain is particularly hard countered by anything either. I do think Portugal might be the better option, but at the same time, Goongoon has to pick a civ that he is comfortable with, and he showed us earlier that he is quite competent with Spain. Did very, very well against France for quite a long time there until LordRaphael edged him. That game could have gone either way. Very close match. Now LordRaphael, he has to think to himself, what do I pick? And maybe he'll go ports as well. But potentially he has that is on the table, or maybe he'll go for France again, and he knows he won that matchup last time, perhaps. But that wouldn't be utilizing the trading post to the fullest, I would think. So possibly not France. I think I'm going to stick with Portugal again for this one.
Yeah. I think if you were a betting person, I feel like ports is kind of where you'd hedge your bets. But yeah, I suppose it's interesting to see Goongoon go Spain again, as we saw he actually tried ports in Game 4 on Florida, and that really didn't kind of work out well for him. That was probably one of the more one-sided games we've seen, but his Spanish play was actually really solid, and he could have had that game kind of at any point there. So it's a nice choice for him to go Spain. But Raphael, yeah, I'm thinking ports here.
Portugal coming out.
There we go.
I thought this would be the final thing he'd land on. I mean, he's probably going through all of the other matchups thinking, okay, what can I do against Spain here? Okay, he probably knew he was going to go for Portugal, has ended up on Portugal, and that was the expected outcome, right?
Yep, and so I think this will be the first time he's actually played Portugal in this series, but Portugal is definitely one of his stronger civilizations as well. So this is kind of an interesting matchup, Ports versus Spain. I think it's actually kind of close. I know people like, I think Gaia actually kind of prefers Spain maybe in this matchup. I don't know if that's just because of his familiarity with the civilization.
He's certainly very good. He's one of the players back in the day I respected. I saw him play in PK Clan Tournament 3. And he basically piloted Spain in all of the games, switching between Spain and Ottoman, since it was a vanilla tournament, and those two civs are quite good there. So, yeah, Guy has an opinion on Spain. He thinks they're very strong. I can see why those extra shipments are going to be really valuable, but I still feel like Portugal is the safer civ. Because of those town centers, they just feel really strong. I feel really secure. And, you've got, more room for error playing as Portugal, and there's a lot less room for error. I mean, Spanish may be better under optimal conditions, I suppose, if that makes sense, but they don't have as large a margin for error. I feel like the town centers are really safe, almost all of the time. So we'll see how this goes. Certainly a matchup I am very interested to see. I love seeing Spain being played, and also I'm quite curious to see how this will go as well. Spain and Portugal are the two civs in particular that are very good at doing the advanced trading post sort of agendas. And here they are, both of them being played against each other. Quite hyped to see this matchup. And we do fortunately have 200 wood starts as well, so that's only going to add to this as well. So looking to be really good. Here we do have in the north of the map in the colour blue, LordRaphael playing as indeed the Portuguese. Spawning with what looks like a 50 coin treasure in base and a 30 coin treasure as well. So really nice treasures for a market, but that's not what he's going to be doing. He's going to be laying down a trading post nice and early on. There it is. Do we see potentially the War Dog and the Explorer going straight to, well, this guy called Lord, and maybe fighting him?
So both of them are pretty knowledgeable of this map. We can see Raphael headed to the... Yeah, he headed to the correct trading post point. This is the trading post you build if you want to get the first pass. Goongoon, interestingly enough, he went for the next one. I feel maybe he could have actually kind of contested Raphael's one there, got his Explorer in medium mode maybe a bit, and used his War Dog.
He didn't know it was there, and if he had intentions of building his own trading post, he probably doesn't want to start attacking this guy. He's not going to stop his opponent getting the trading post up. It will cause some problems, and that's what he's doing now, right? He's really he's forcing his opponent away from the 60 food treasure, and he's just going to pick that up himself. That's really nice. It might have sacrificed his War Dog for it, but 60 food, pretty good.
Well, and he can just train another War Dog for that, right?
He can, right? And he's got a whole bunch of damage on LordRaphael's Explorer there, so even if he trades the War Dog off for that, picked himself up the 60 food, got some damage done on his opponent's Explorer, and actually escapes. He's not stupid. He's not going to trade it off. He's going to keep that alive on very low HP. Did you just pick up my treasure?
I'm afraid he did.
He is not too happy about that. 60 food denied. And that is only going to help Spain get up even faster and make use of that extra shipments that they have sooner. That's really, really nice for him there. And 70 coin as well. This age 1 going phenomenally for Goongoon. Going to be very happy about that. But, WickedCossack, we do see LordRaphael sending advanced trading post. There it is.
Wow. Yeah, so it's actually when you do advanced trading post strategies, I actually don't like starting with the 200 wood because it always feels a bit awkward. Do I save my wood and maybe buy a cheaper trading post a bit later? And then also when you send this, right, your trading post that you've already built is suddenly weaker. It's still only got like 2,500 hit points.
Oh, does it not get buffed straight away?
No, unfortunately it doesn't. So it almost feels like there's I think Raphael could have actually chosen to save his shipment and, not save the shipment, but not build the TP and build it a bit later, and maybe he could have got 2 TPs a bit quicker with that. So it's a little awkward, but he sends it anyway, and we'll no doubt we'll see him try and get as much of the trading line as he can.
It's still going to be a very strong ATP. I really wonder what the difference actually is. ATP coming in for Goongoon as well. Talking about Gaia earlier, who is good as Spain, and here we have the Spain player, Goongoon. But anyway, I wonder how really different it is, because you get the trading post up sooner, that's going to help your shipment progression, it's going to help you get ATP sooner, and Portugal do not have fast shipments like Spain, so maybe you do need to get the TP up sooner. I think the difference really between either saving the wood and not building it, or just building it straight away, is probably very small, and either way, this is going to be a very, very powerful what LordRaphael is up to. Does pick himself up a native scout, he's going to like that, hasn't managed to scout too much of the map as we can see, and also the sort of stealthy mode is going to be really, really valuable. But the race is on, both players have sent ATP. This is where we try and slam down as many TPs as possible. Looks like, though, with LordRaphael sending a villager, has managed to claim this one sooner than his opponent can, and Goongoon doing the same, but his Explorer not making the race in time. So this is going to be all about controlling the route.
Yeah, I suppose this is to be expected that Portugal would get 3 of the TPs and Spain only gets 2, because Spain kind of has to send that 3 villagers first, and they usually age up maybe 10-15 seconds slower. So Portugal, they get their villagers gathering wood.
He has 2 shipments available right now for
really
Portugal.
nice.
I wonder if he built that trading post early on as ports. Maybe that also does guarantee secure you one on the route. And obviously that's going to be really valuable. So maybe there's another reason he decided to do that, because Spain could have perhaps gotten 3 here whilst he only had 2. I know you're saying it's more likely for Ports to, but it is possible for Spain, I suppose. But we are moving now into the colonial-aged part of the game. Both players up. Portugal going up with 400 wood, and with that wood we can see he has laid down, well, I thought that was a barracks, but that's actually his town centre, but being put in his base. But I'm sure he will build a stable coming out, actually. So there's his infrastructure, his production building, and with the remaining wood I imagine he will get 2 houses, or a market and a house perhaps. I don't think either player will want to upgrade the route just yet. It's not quite worthwhile when your opponent's on it. But Spain, 200 gold and an outpost. Outpost coming forward, very far forward here, in between his opponent's 2 trading posts. So hoping to really pick those up. That's what that outpost signals to me. And also as a forward spawn point for his shipments as well. We'll have to see what his first shipment is. 700 gold coming out of the Spanish player. He has full intentions of going up to the Fortress Age. And actually, so does LordRaphael. I imagine, though, he'll want to train some cavalry beforehand. What do you make of this?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting that Raphael's placed his second town centre in a defensive position. I suppose that's just because he's playing someone like Spain. So if normally you on this map you kind of stick it down next to one of your enemy trading posts just to kind of secure a bit of map control. But I suppose he's a bit worried about the falconet shipment, maybe the pikemen's. So the fact that Goongoon got his outpost down next to the trading post means that there could be a time when Goongoon takes over the whole trading post line in early age 3.
Yeah.
We might see him do that and then just try and hold those trading posts against any push that Raphael tries to make.
Yeah, and this is a prime position for like shipping pikes with high siege damage and cannons with high siege damage, and just quickly being able to start sieging these teepees. It really primes you to be able to do that. It's really nice. And I also really like the 2 trading posts, the 2 town centers, as you were mentioning, really bunched close together. It makes the effectiveness and threat of Minutemen a lot more, and also when you're trying to deal with cannons, having 2 town centers nearby rather than far away and separated just makes it easier. Sadly, though, it does give up some of the map control, but still nicely sort of positioned on the right-hand side of his base where this pronghorn herd is, and sort of can herd that onto there as well. And also there's a pronghorn herd slightly to the, is that the south? On the front of his base, at least. I think that's the best way to describe it. Did you flare the map and I missed it? Yes, I did. Oh. We do see, though, the explorer going down, and maybe a villager as well. No, he does queue that. Really nice. He's only queuing the ones being attacked rather than all of them. So making, not belling up his entire eco. Almost got that villager.
I think this is kind of where you might have called Minutemen as Spain, because Raphael usually kind of just stays under the town centre. But he's heading out now with the 3 villages. So I think he might have picked up one of the villages from Goongoon he killed early on. But so he got a bit of damage done there. And I see, that's why he's moved out with his hussar, because he's going to go for this 320 XP treasure.
I was wondering this too.
Normally he just kind of stands there and lets his hussar die, because it's kind of just a good trade for them to bell up those villages. It kind of works out as a net benefit for you. But he obviously wants this extra shipment. So he's going to have so many shipments, free trading posts and 320 XP.
I really like this, because it's basically a free 320 XP. Like, you can tank the damage on the Explorer, or maybe not, that's quite low life. But either way, you're going to pick up 320 XP. The Cav will still mostly be alive afterwards, and then he can continue to use those Cav for raiding if he wants to. It might be a bit later than normal. I really like the decision from Goongoon to age up with the 8 pikemen here. Normally people go with the 4 Cav. It is perhaps slightly better in terms of cost efficiency, and just cavalry are more useful in the Fortress Age, perhaps. And also putting that one into cover mode so he takes less damage from the trading post there. He's going to, this particular one. So, yeah, and because of the siege damage, this is really nice. This is one of the opportunities where it's good to send the pikemen in. So nicely done there. Yeah. Able to take out this trading post.
Yeah, I would... For a second, I was going to say, well, he should have actually gone for the other trading post because it had less hit points, but it doesn't, because Raphael actually noticed that, and he's kind of healed it up from when he sent the advanced trading post. So yeah, Goongoon's going to start taking down this trading post line. He even sits
12 pikes as his first shipment. I like that too. I think he sent 5 villages during transition, I believe. So starting with the cannons might be a bit risky, especially when he saw those cavalry, which are now getting shafted by pikemen. Might not want to start with the cannons, and instead get some pikemen out, some anti-cavalry out, so protect those cannons with before they arrive. And as well, like, it's a really good decision because they have a high siege damage. He's going to be able to claim the route, and he's got really cheap TPs because of ATP, and also the ranged attack in this area combined with the outpost, so much map control as well.
Yeah, this is great for him, and so I think he might start researching stagecoats kind of soon. as if he can get 5 TP stagecoach up and running, his economy is kind of going to be in a lot better position. And I don't know what's going on. Okay, so Raphael's third town centre finally does go down. The Bison were being a bit annoying there. They were having a pool party kind of on the town centre foundation, but it does go down eventually.
Pool party.
Something was going on there. Anyway.
Okay, Pikeman not gonna go on the cap,
Falconets.
but yeah, they do come out. Though Cassador's coming as well, he's going to task them onto. He does take one volley, not too good. That's gonna. The damage done there is quite a lot actually. Thankfully, it was only one. Those town centers. Yeah, they've got colonial militia research. That's why that's happening. Holy crap! That cannon's going down so fast.
That falconet.
Maybe
I've never seen anything like that.
It's so quick. It's basically 4 town centers shooting at it because it's because of the.
Wow,
I think at this point, do you just get back out of range?
Yeah,
get that cannon out of range.
I think Goongoon should have gotten back there. He's just lost I've never seen that. He's lost a falconet to 2 town centers. They absolutely crushed that.
Maybe sending falconets to begin with wasn't even the right decision. Perhaps he didn't realise though that his opponent had sent the colonial militia. But in hindsight, I can see why the cannon's not actually very strong against these. He can't really push into this base. It's so well defended. And hold on a moment, he just no, actually, never mind. I was about to say something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I mean, Goongoon had a few options here. He could have just sat behind his control of the trading post line, but he's using his shipments here to push in. And he did lose the falconet. It's going okay for him so far.
Yeah.
It's colonial militia has been sent though, so he's got to be really careful with his positioning.
Or maybe he's coming in to try and force that Minutemen pop, right? Maybe he's edging close enough to get LordRaphael to just send it, and then he can leave when he's not really fully committed or fully invested. Maybe it's trying to kind of lure it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He could be.
Oh, that Minutemen got shot! Oh my goodness. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, if he is doing that, he's kind of playing with fire. It's very risky. It can definitely work out. But
maybe the safer thing to do would be to just sit back behind the TP line. Go ahead.
I'm surprised he's continuing with it against 2 town centers with colonial militia. I mean, this second falconet, right? It's not going to last too long. Yeah. We can already see it's taking damage.
Yeah, it's going to go down pretty quick. And, Lancers coming in, they are very strong against Cassadors, but...
no anti-cav yet.
No anti-cav yet, but he could call Minutemen. He doesn't have the resources.
He doesn't have it.
He has a lot of wood, which he could sell, but that really wouldn't be very valuable. Lancers do so good against Cassadors and their high ranged resist, no melee resist, very low hit points. Going to get absolutely devastated by veteran Lancers here. And there's a nice cannon splash. So, at any rate, this is going very, very well for Spain.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about how well it's going, but he's obviously made the right decision to stick around here.
Maybe it's just a case of, you have to be, as Spain, you invest quite heavily in all these military shipments. You got to do something with them, even if your opponent does send.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe that's the case. Equally, though, I do wonder if you could just sit back and stay on the, stop him from gathering up those hunts, something like that. Or maybe he's played this matchup before, and even if he does do that, maybe Ports can get enough. He's still got some hunts in his base, get enough units to then push back out, and maybe Either way, this is working very effectively.
He's almost got this other town centre down as well. I suppose he can't get it down right now, but we got 1k coin. I mean, how's he can't really pick that up too easily.
Well, he can now, I guess. And these skirms can't stay too long because double colonial militia is just going to eat these skirms up. There's no he needs to sit on the periphery of the town centers, right, and then pot shot at the vills just out of range and try and keep them build up that way. But he's done enough damage to do really well. That town center, though, is being repaired by the looks of it. So good use of the wood that he was stockpiling.
And I think so. Goongoon's finally scouted the location of the third town center. I'm not sure he knew completely where that was up until now. And here we go. So he's transitioning now.
Okay. So he realizes he's done enough damage early on, and is now going to sit back with his trading route economy, make sure he's got his market upgrades, and then use this extra town center to sort of keep afloat. He knows he's done enough damage early on, and now it's time to sort of position himself as the to get change gear into the economy. so to speak.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if we've explicitly pointed out it yet now, but Stagecoach has been researched. So having those 4 trading posts and now the extra town centre, Goongoon's economy is ahead with 4 town centres. No, not 4 town centres, 4 trading posts. So at this time, he, as you said, he's done enough damage. He doesn't need to push, and he's got a sizable army. He's in a fantastic position. Raphael's going to have to make something happen. I don't know what it is, because he can't sneak around and raid. How do you get past all these trading posts and the outposts? And you can't, can you?
No, so much line of sight, so much protection, and ultimately that all translates into map control. It's weird how the player with 3 town centers, as soon as he gets up to Fortress Age, is lacking map control. But that's the way it is. ATP really strong for these reasons, especially on this map where the trading posts literally cut the map in half. But go ahead.
Yeah, so Goongoon's not waiting around though. He's going to push it again, and yeah, he's in a great position. As Raphael, I don't know what you can do. Maybe try and play a bit of a gimmick and go up to industrial. Maybe get out 2 heavy cannons,
or maybe revolt. No, that wouldn't.
Or revolt. Well, I don't think this is a
not the appropriate
you can
time.
Play
no.
standard from. No, he's going to need Goongoon to make a bad engagement or a mistake now for him to kind of come back into this, and I don't think Goongoon will, but we'll see. He's posturing with his skirmishers, but Goongoon's got such a big army, and he's going to be able to take a few more pot shots at all these villages on this coin mine.
Ooh, does lose 1, maybe 1.5 there. Taking pot shots, that's exactly it, right? Like, that mine is just far away enough from his town centre for it to be very difficult to reactively put the vills inside the TC every time the skirms come up. But you're always going to lose almost a villager every single time he does that, and if he continues to do that, his economy is just going to shrink, right? If we take a look at economic unit population, Blue is ahead. So he's doing well for economy. That's what 3 town centres do. But he's running out of food, and his opponent does have the whole damn trading route. So he can't, even though villager population is reasonable, he needs to get out on the map and sort of maybe start dealing with these trading posts, which seems at this point nigh on impossible. But also, more importantly perhaps, find some resources, because certainly this coin mine is being troublesome, and his hunts are about to run out. He's just got this down here, which looks a bit bigger than it is because of the 4 bears next to the CDB. Probably worth picking that CDB up, actually. I wonder if he'll do that. He's got the goons for it. But yeah, it's just troublesome. For
Indeed. And Goongoon's kind of identified, okay, so this is...
Mams are out, though.
Ooh.
Mamelukes, this could be the power play he needs. All he needs to do, right, is catch these skirms with his mams whilst the goons are doing something else. But that might be tough, though, because Goongoon might not ever send the goons away.
Yeah, exactly. I think he needs a bit more than just these 4 Mamelukes. But if he can get an engagement next to one of his town centres and he can call out the militia as well, I think that combined with the 4 Mamelukes, that could possibly be just enough. But I'm not sure the 4 Mamelukes by themselves could do it, but he's setting himself up for maybe getting a possible a really nice engagement for him.
Yeah,
is Goongoon gonna walk into that trap?
I don't think he will. He knows he's got his second town centre up. He's aware of what he has to do to win, which is, start making more vills. He's got his trading post economy. His score is just growing and growing. And look, now LordRaphael even having to add in a mill, he's just going to get even further behind as a result of this. And it just doesn't feel good to send the Mamelukes here, right? You say it a lot in your commentaries, which, by the way, are on the AoE3 Livestreams channel if you want to check out if you want to check out WickedCossack basically doing what H2O and I do. The H2O explains, WickedCossack's doing that too, so go check that out, by the way. You mentioned a lot that... if you're sending a military shipment, it has to be either to defend with or you're going to push out. And he's doing neither with those mams. They're sitting there idle, and that's really not good for him. That shipment could have been, something else that would have been actually doing something valuable here. But I guess he needs to take that risk. He needs to set that up. He needs to set up a way to catch all of these units and get back in the game. And that has to be the pop with the Minutemen, as you're mentioning, and the Mamelukes on top of that. But it just doesn't feel good right now. They're not doing anything.
Yeah. So that's the thing. As you said, it's a risk. It's kind of a gamble. If he just sits here with the 4 Mamelukes and Goongoon just sits here, it kind of looks terrible. Like you just shipped a unit shipment and you're doing nothing. But I think he was kind of gambling that Goongoon would push into his base and that he could get this kind of favourable trade with the Minutemen. And that's just, when you're behind, that's just a gamble you have to take. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I think that's what he did. And it hasn't worked out. Goongoon's just kind of, you can see he's just patrolling the trading post line. So even though it kind of looks like it was a bad time to send the 4 Mamelukes, you know, it was a gamble that he kind of took to maybe get back in, and it just hasn't paid off. And
it could still work as of it's becoming less and less and less likely. By the way, veteran Rodelleros looks so good. Plus he has hand infantry combat as well. The stats on these bad boys are just great. Now, you don't get to see rods that strong, but here he comes. I said it could still work, and that's because Goongoon is at max population, effectively 10 more pop left. So he's going to have to push in soon, lest he'll just stack resources and not make any use of this army. But he's done exactly what he needed to do, maintain villager production from 2 town centers and just protect this trading route. But now it is time to come in and do something. He's finally reached max population, and this is where LordRaphael is going to have to make a play happen. Currently, Goongoon is not aware of the Mamelukes, right? So that could still be a big threat. This is what he needs. You see, all the anti-cavalry are very separated from the skirmishers. This is the ideal opportunity. Sadly, though, they won't be separated for long. Those units do move quite quickly. But it's a moment like that where you can get those Mams in queue. You've got your organ guns, call the Minutemen, and really make sort of make a difference. But sadly for LordRaphael, doesn't look like Goongoon is going to fall into that trap. He's never really going to send his anti-cavalry too far away.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say you've got your organ guns pretty casually, but usually you don't just have your organ guns. Right? So Raphael's actually chosen to build kind of 4 organ guns to add into his composition.
Yeah, and that feels like a facet of him having not very much food and probably
Ronins.
Really?
Yeah, so we got
baby, these can be just as devastating, but they are much easier to deal with than Mams, and that's why they're...
He's got 5 Ronin, 4 Mamelukes, and 4 organ guns.
Did you see those? That was... Yeah. Well, Ronin, though, sadly are going to be picked off quite quickly, I would imagine. I put them on the skirms. They're so bunched together. The area damage is absolutely nuts. Sadly, though, the Rodelleros and he calls the Minutemen out, and the cannons in the back now having to move forward, sadly. They're not shooting. He needs them to be shooting for these Mamelukes and the Ronin, which are tanking damage all this time. The organ guns weren't getting the value. Minutemen are cool, but ultimately there are so many Spanish units. They're so upgraded as well. Hand infantry hit points coming in. There's very much hand infantry
left alive though, so the Mamelukes and the Ronin dropped really fast, but these organ guns are kind of sat on the back lines, just shattering Goongoon's military. But it might not be enough. The organ guns are finally going to go down. The colonial militia are just losing their hit points now, and that was Raphael's kind of his one timing to maybe swing the fight with those 2 mercenary shipments, and it hasn't done it enough. I think he kind of needed to win that quite hard and gain a bit of momentum from that.
There was a moment, I think, where the Ronin could have tasked onto the skirms, and so much damage would have been done. He would have knocked down like 15 skirms all at once, because the area damage is absolutely ridiculous. All they need is 2 hits to really get that off. Ronin have like 4 area, something crazy. I'm not sure what it is. It would have been really devastating there. Sadly, though, the Mamelukes and the Ronin got into a position where they were fighting upgraded veteran Rodelleros, which just have really high, of course, melee resist. So that's really ideal for Spain. That's the exact unit he wants to be fighting those. And of course, Rodelleros do really good hand damage against cavalry as well. So Mamelukes really gonna, it was just a case of the Mams and the Ronin not being on the units that I feel like they ought to have been on, sadly, in that moment.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, throughout the whole of this as well, it's interesting to note that Goongoon's still been on natural resources. He's just wailing away on bisons and coin mines, where Raphael's got all these mills, and so
sucking them up,
yeah.
He's still got plenty left as well. Look at all of these hunts and this mine next to his town centre. Go ahead.
Yeah, so his reinforcements are going to come so much sooner and in kind of bigger numbers as well. And we can see he's already kind of remassed up to a really nice army. And have a look at Raphael's remass. There's nothing. There's 2 organ guns and 5 dragoons.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
That's just a case of not having 4 trading posts and also gathering from mills. It's just not good enough. Even if that fight had come off better for LordRaphael, it's just a case of maybe he does neutralize the Spanish army, but then what, right? You have to push back out, and I think Spain bounces back reasonably easily. This is where the game, I think, is going to come to a close. The villagers that are remaining on hunts, well, not that there's very many left, but they are going to go down here, and LordRaphael going to have to take a fight here to defend his economy. The organ gun's coming up, the dragoons trying to get into position to scare the units away, but not before so many villagers have gone down. Minutemen are called as well by the looks of it, but
a fresh batch of Minutemen have come out
from the other town centre. But you know, they're now going to go back down to very low HP, and these aren't fucking cheap. These are what, 400 gold, 400 food for a batch, and Goongoon's not going to fight them. He knows they're going to disappear. Their HP is going to go down. He's heading back. Goongoon doing exactly what he needs to do to just to win this game. Playing it very safe, not going to risk fighting under these town centres that are super upgraded. Just going to sit back with his super efficient economy and his 2 town centres and just outlast Portugal. And you can see the score gap growing and growing. And
yeah, I think he's done a really good job actually of not kind of overcommitting at any point. Like the only time we actually saw Goongoon actually decide to take an engagement was just because he had so much military pop that he was forced to, really. But otherwise, he's just been patrolling the trading post route and doing exactly what he needs to, not overcommitting at any point.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's in a great position, and is he banking to go up to industrial?
That looks like it. I think that's a good decision at this point. Get your factories out. And since you're already at max unit population, this is the time to do it, right? Because you can't train any more units, and you certainly don't want to push in too hard, so you can get those guard upgrades. I think this is the ideal time to go up to industrial.
Yeah. The other thing I should probably mention is that why we kind of counted Raphael out a bit of this game. He does actually have a villager lead and has had a villager lead. It's just they've all been on kind of these mills. But anyway, Goongoon's going to push in here again, so see what he can get done.
Yeah, Organ Gun's going to do so good against the Rodelleros, which of course just have reasonably low hit points because of their high resist. So many plus 10s there, but sadly now up close and personal with the Organ Guns, and they are going to go down. This is where you want to call the Minutemen, but obviously he's done that with both TCs. Now Spain is aware of that, and that is possibly why he's pushing in. He knows there's no more Minutemen to be called here, and now just superior upgrades. Look at all 4 of the upgrades for Spain have come out, upgrading his units here. This is where he's gonna face roll the blue army, and this is truly where this game is gonna come to a close, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very intricate though, very interesting. GG coming out from LordRaphael. Very well played from both players, I think, but Spain here edging it over Portugal. And I really enjoyed that match. The score is now 3-3. This could go either way. Both players have 1 game to play, I guess, and that will be the final game of the series. And whoever wins that takes the series and progresses through to the quarterfinals. The loser will, of course, be eliminated. My name has been Interjection, casting alongside WickedCossack. Thank you very much for tuning in today, everybody. And yes, I just want to take this opportunity to plug our site, eso-community.net. That is where this tournament is brought to you by. And do sign up, do bookmark the site, sign up to our forums to keep up to date with the Age 3 scene. We'll be right back in just a moment with the deciding game in this series. This has truly been one hell of a series. Really just gone on for so long now. This stream has been live for 5 hours. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will be back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what will be game number 7 in a best of 7 between LordRaphael and Goongoon. The score is obviously currently 3-3. The first person to 4 games, which will be whoever wins this next game, will take the series and progress through to the quarterfinals. The loser will be eliminated. Single bracket elimination. Who is picking first for this next map? That person is going to be feeling pretty sad.
Yes, I believe we have Raphael is picking first, and I think he's locked in as Russia. We can just confirm that. But yeah, and Goongoon's gone Dutch. So yeah, this is the final game. So kind of the nerves are going to be creeping up.
Russia versus Dutch. Yeah. This is actually a match we saw earlier, I believe.
Yes, yeah. But in reverse, if we remember. Yeah, so Goongoon was actually the Russians.
Now Goongoon's going to have to deal with the Russians. We'll have to see how well he does that. Sadly, though, no llamas like we saw last time, which might alleviate some of the pressure. So Goongoon going to have to be doing that just with Dutch. No help from, of course, the Pampas Sierras resources that do spawn on the map. There is certainly that. Yeah. But they have been alternating all series as of game number 2, where one person picks first and then the other player picks afterwards. And in this final series, this final game where it matters most, by the looks of it, Goongoon is going to have to pick afterwards. So, Raphael gone for Russia. Goongoon gone for Dutch. We will be clicking in very shortly, I will imagine. This is going to be a very high-tension, high-nerve series. But our players are ready by the looks of it. Both players have greened in, so am I. Sadly, actually, LordRaphael is ungreened, so perhaps we are not as ready as I thought we were.
No, it's never that simple. They were pretty nice to each other starting off this series, but you can kind of see the nerves creeping in a bit here. People's the tension's creeping up a little bit, so they're getting a bit antsy, and you can see that reflected in their comments. But Russians versus Dutch.
About certainly his comment about high planes. I thought that was quite fun. Definitely getting antsy, but we are ready. We've spawned into the map for our final game. The winner of this game will progress through to the quarterfinals. Spawning in the right-hand side of the map in the color blue, we do indeed have LordRaphael playing as the Russians, spawning with 1 wood crate, a coin, and of course the rest food. Does have 40 gold nearby and 40 food as well, so could go for the early market. It is possible, but Russia probably not going to be doing that versus Dutch, where you need to keep the pressure high, make it hard for them, really make them pay if they want to go up to the Fortress Age, force them to send those 8 pikes and really deal with your pressure. So we'll see that. Let's take a look at the treasures surrounding his base. To the south, 60 food, really useful for Russia if he does go in that direction, but by the looks of it, heading to the north, which is good too, 70 food up there as well. So 2 really nice treasures in the vicinity of Russia, though I don't think he's going to find both of them early on where it really matters. In fact, it might be the case that he does not go for either of them straight away. Explorer going straight out into the middle of the map there. No treasures to be found just yet. His opponent, though, playing as the Dutch, is going to come across a Cherokee rifleman. Not perhaps the most useful treasure, but that's where his Explorer is right now. The next potential one is 90 food. Good to keep tabs on this because it really can influence what they might do in that very early portion of the game. 80 food does finally come across a food treasure, but here he is, Goongoon, spawning in the left-hand side of the map. Playing is indeed the Dutch. Those villagers had to walk quite a way to get to his hunt. By the looks of it, he's not going to be too happy about that. It's going to delay his age up potentially, and every second is really going to matter in this final match. Where especially if you're the defending side, there you really want to be up on time. But here he is, Goongoon, playing as the Dutch, and there is certainly that.
So that was actually his second hunt. He's decided to hunt first. I think he could have got this deer hunt in pretty close to his town centre. Yeah. But so that native treasure you mentioned earlier, he chose not to go for it. But that could have been interesting because anytime you play against Russia on such a small map as this, Russia's going to get that blockhouse down in kind of a key position in the middle of the map. We kind of expect it to go down next to that middle trading post. Yeah. He potentially could have decided, all right, you know what, I'm going to invest some time in picking up that Cherokee rifleman. And, maybe that combined with my Explorer and Envoy, we could actually, take down the blockhouse. But he's decided to kind of play it safe and go for maybe going for more of the resource treasures.
Yeah, which might be the better thing to do early on. Yeah. Right? Certainly, those are going to be more useful right now. And he can always go back and get that Cherokee rifleman, though, if he wants to get it, for it to be useful whilst dealing with the blockhouse, as you mentioned. He'll have to get it pretty soon, because Russia is about to age up. He has found 2 food treasures, has Goongoon. Has LordRaphael. He's going to be very pleased about that. It's going to help him age up a little bit quicker. Maybe he'll go for an earlier age up. Maybe he'll neglect to train an extra batch of 3 villagers in favour. 40 food in his base as well. I think this is actually on the cards. He's got 14 vills out. Let's take a look if he has any units in queue. It does have 3 vills, so he's going to go for the 17 vill age up. These food treasures aren't actually going to be as useful, but it could have been available. At any rate, the extra resources does mean that blockhouse is going to get down nice and early. Okay, so villagers transitioning over to wood. He's going to finish that final batch of 3 vills, and then he's going to hit on up to the next stage. You can see all these food treasures really coming into play now. He's got so much extra food, 60 food there, that he managed to get. So actually, by the looks of it, it did help him age up a little bit faster because he collected way more than 6. So it is actually valuable here. But I think perhaps didn't get carried away and, as I mentioned, perhaps neglect a batch of 3 villages. Maybe that's not the thing to do. Does want the 3 villages, and I think that's a level-headed decision to make.
Yeah, and he even gets another food treasure, but you could definitely tell the getting those food treasures certainly helped his age up, as normally what kind of used to happen as Russia is you'd be about 740 food when your final villagers come out, and then you'd be like kind of scrambling to, you know, get that extra food just to make your build nice and smooth. But he's got free food treasures. His build is going to be, you know, so nice and smooth over. He's
no kinks.
Yeah, and look how this is a very forward blockhouse. Normally, it often goes a bit.
Is he going to shoot the rifleman there to make Mother Nature to kill him? I'd really like to see that. Come on, Raphael. Doesn't look like he's going to do it.
No.
Red definitely going to pick it up. But yeah, that is a very forward blockhouse. Sadly for Goongoon, he's not going to know that it's there. It is, as you mentioned last time, that it's unlikely to call Minutemen to deal with that kind of thing. But this is very far forward.
Oh, and you know what? That's a really unfortunate position for your first coin mine as Goongoon. I mean, so Raphael's first coin mine spawned kind of off to the side of his town centre, and that's, I suppose, what Goongoon would have been hoping for. But having this coin mine right out front, you know, that could be a bit of an issue. He's kind of blocked it a little bit off using the bank and the house, so that's nice. So that's going to stop maybe the 5 Cossacks charging straight in, and he's going to block it even more with the stable.
Well. Yeah.
But it's at points he probably will be forced to garrison those villages to stop infantry units shooting at them. So that's just a bit of bad luck having that coin mine spawn out front. But he's managing it quite well.
5 musketeers have arrived. They are coming towards that coin mine that you were mentioning, and going to take some pot shots at the villagers, possibly force them off. No, he isn't going to come all the way now. No, yes, he is. Is he waiting for the cavalry, something like that? At any rate, I do like that Goongoon has all these villagers on the forward coin mine, none on the back coin mine. That's the safe one. And whilst he can gather coin from the front one, that's what he is doing.
Yep.
And then later on can put his villagers on the safer one at the back. So you want to use up this less. Oh, is that villager going to go down? Sadly, the explorer blocked it there. Oh, 2 HP does keep it alive. And I think these other villagers will be fine too. They'll take a little bit of damage, which isn't too good, but does keep them all alive there. Nicely done. And can take out this explorer. Minutemen are called, so explorer is going to be safe. And I'm not sure how I feel about the Minutemen there. I guess it does force the Musks and the Cossacks back for the time being, and that is valuable. But it would be nice to combine those Minutemen with, like, the cavalry pop. Sadly, not too many cavalry there. But if you can, like, snare them in place and then call out the Minutemen, that can be really nice and effective. But it doesn't look like it would have had enough cavalry to do that anyway.
Yeah, that's probably why he didn't wait for the snare, because snaring for 2 cavalry wasn't going to be...
Yeah.
Wasn't going to be a big kind of deal.
It resulted in him protecting his explorer as well. It was a good Minutemen pop as it was going to be.
So now we've got, 700 wood coming out from Goongoon, and he's going to... So he's going to add a barracks with this, and he's going to be in this kind of tricky position that Raphael was in before, where you've got to somehow get up to Fortress without dying, but you need to make some army to do that. But how much army do you make?
I like this wall.
Yeah, so the wall's really nice, actually. He does get out a much bigger batch of hussars, so that's going to be nice for him. But can he defend the stables? I mean, his racks is not even done, so his 5 skirms are going to be a long time.
Yeah, he's going to have to get that in queue right now. I'm sure we'll see it any second. But yeah, there's a bit preoccupied here. He has taken the engagement. The hussars are going to be fighting against the Cossacks, though. No hand combat from the musketeers, which is and in the back, the Minutemen are able to get some damage done, which is really good because they're all on 1 HP. He's going to have to pick them up. He has done that now. He's going to have to get back here.
Yeah, so that fight didn't go too bad for Goongoon, but I mean, there's just a lot of musketeers left over from Raphael, and these skirms are going to be a long time coming. But I think Raphael has to be a bit careful. Like, what if 8 pikemen suddenly come out from the town centre? Yeah, and then maybe a few skirms, he could get cleaned up.
Yeah, there's the 8 pikemen you were speaking of, and as far as Raphael's concerned, this Rax has been up the whole time. There could be skirmishes here. Maybe he is a bit overextended, getting a bit ahead of himself, seeing that he'd already called Bill's coming in as well. I really like that. Get the extra hand damage in. Realizes that perhaps not going to be the case, but yeah, these Musks, they really don't have very good hand attack, which is what's happening here. They're being forced to do 10 damage to these pikes, which is not very much, instead of their superior ranged attack. That's why these pikes are able to do so well against them, and their Russian Musks as well just makes them weaker, so there is certainly that to consider. But 8, I think LordRaphael overextended there, and he just got punished for it. He didn't need to be all this way in.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was maybe he was getting perhaps a bit too greedy. He did a vision of the barracks as well, so I don't know. I mean, he could have picked up a few villages there. But so that was just a decision he's made, and he's kind of got to live with that decision now throughout the rest of this game. But we can see that he's added 2 stables. So normally you'd kind of add a second blockhouse, right, and 1 stables, but 2 stables. We can really expect a lot more Cossacks to start coming in now.
Yeah. I was wondering if this makes more sense as to why he stayed under the TC then. Try and clean up as many units as he can, and then make it harder for his opponent to defend his skirmishes when he starts to train them, since he's going to go double Cossack. Really overwhelming there. Maybe it was to force the pikemen out now, something like that.
Yeah, that could very well have been it. I think it'd also be nice to see maybe Goongoon kind of finish the wall at the front here, so it just buy him a bit more time that he can kind of shoot with his skirmishes. But so Raphael, he shipped 700 coin in, so that's really gonna allow him to put these 2 stables to use. Normally at 8 minutes you probably can't, get batches of 10 Cossacks after 10 Cossacks. But with the 700 coin, he's gonna be able to put that into use, and he's probably creating a time.
There it is. That's really nice. And it makes me wonder if he'll. Yeah, he did finish the wall like you mentioned as well. So that's perhaps he's listening to this. Oh, yeah,
nice.
No, he's not. There's a 3-minute delay. But the stable, he's not got anything else in queue here. So I imagine he'll get some more in queue at these stables soon. But it makes me. I'm almost certain now that he's going to send 600 coin as well and do that. Would make sense as to why he's building 2 stables. Otherwise, it does feel like a bit of a squandered wood, because they're not always going to be active, and really that's what you want. Does have 10 Strelae in queue though. And we'll see what his next shipment is. Perhaps it will be a military shipment, such as 2 Cossacks in queue. I think he's going to send 600 gold.
So, just because of his villager distribution, it's quite likely he sends 600 gold. But also, the 13 Strelets is an option, and he could, or even the 4 Cossacks.
That's still
military shipment.
Equally as good option, right?
And but so this means he's got to do something with this. So he's going to try and push in, and Goongoon hits the Fortress Age. This is going to be a risky defense.
It's going to be very tough. He needs the military shipment to be arriving right now. He doesn't have anything in queue, I believe, so no military on the...
The wall's completely finished, though. Really nice.
He can't get in, but how much time is it really going to buy him? They have only 1,500 hit points on this particular patch, and he's picking off some of the musks. That's really nice. That's what he needs to be doing. But once that wall goes down, look at the sheer number of cavalry. He needs Reuters to pop now. Where are they? The pikemen are coming in. Yeah, come on, Reuters. I wonder if he did have a shipment. I don't know, but if he did, it's going to arrive now. He needs it too. This is where it's going to count the most. Otherwise, he could just get rolled over here. Come on. Doesn't look like it's going to be happening. No Reuters arriving. These Cossacks that get free reign unpunished. They cleared up all the pikemen. Going to move on to the skirmishers. I wonder if it would be correct to escape the skirmishers through the gate.
Well, yeah, possibly all the villagers are running.
Yeah, they're getting out of here. They know what to do.
Yep, a lot more sense than the army had, but still no shipment on the way. Oh, we can see 5 hussars are going to maybe clear up a few of the musketeers.
Okay.
No, he's just going to get caught, so that's actually really bad.
Yeah, and that could spell the end of Goongoon's tournament life right here. Off the back of his opponent massing Cav at 2 stables and pushing into him at the perfect moment, just as he hit up to the next stage. Didn't have the adequate defense. 9 Reuters do arrive, but it feels too...
I think Goongoon walked all his villagers over Raphael's Explorer can see them. That's game. If he goes up there, that's over.
He's going that way. The newly trained batch is heading that way. That has to be
mistake.
Yeah.
He must have seen that Explorer. Goongoon would have known there's line of sight there. He's
sending his Reuters up to that location to try and defend this the best he can. But if he had any hopes of staying in the game, he had to keep these vills. Like, after losing that initial batch's skirms that he matched up during Colonial, he's quite far behind at that point. And losing vills on top of that is really tough. And like now the Cossacks, the Reuters trying to go back to defend. He's having to split them up to protect his vills, while simultaneously look at his base. The banks are going to be threatened soon. His racks is being threatened soon. His stable's already gone. This is really, really not good for Goongoon. GG coming out. LordRaphael takes the series and progresses through to the quarterfinals. Goongoon is eliminated after a very, very close series. A very, very interesting one to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Congratulations to LordRaphael. If I had to put my money on one of the 2 players, it would have been him. I would have said he is the perhaps stronger player here. But Goongoon certainly very, very competent. Always has been. We've always known that. But, manages to take out, or not take out, but do very, very well against the runner-up of the previous tournament here, and I think LordRaphael is one of the people I expect to see go very, very far in the tournament. I guess this is very, very far in the tournament now.
Yeah.
But certainly, getting through to the quarterfinals, that is, one step away from the finals, I guess. So very well done. GG out. This was exhausting. Very well played, I must say. And I can thoroughly agree with that sentiment. A nice positive note to lean on. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. This tournament has been brought to you by ESO-community.net. Do check out our site, bookmark it to keep up to date with the Age of Empires 3 scene. We host the largest Age of Empires 3 forum on the internet, so do sign up for that, even if it's just to show us support. All donations received on this stream or on the website do go towards hosting future tournaments. And the more we receive, the more often we can do tournaments. Not that we'll increase the prize pool like that. There'll always be $1,000 tournaments with a $100 betting prize as well. So what that means, if you're wondering what the betting is all about, basically, sign up for free. You get given a whole bunch of imaginary points, and you bet on matches that happen during the tournament. And then whoever has the most points at the end of the tournament gets that $100. So, no investment there. You don't have to put any money into it. Just sign up to our site and get on that for free when the next tournament happens. Definitely a really nice and fun and interactive way to sort of enjoy the commentaries and the tournaments that are happening. So there is certainly that. Again, my name has been Interjection, casting alongside
WickedCossack.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great series this one. Actually, really enjoyed casting it along with you. Good luck to Raphael for the rest of the tournament as well.
Some really nice games. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play again.
Yeah. So that was just a really nice series overall. Goongoon made a really good showing of himself. We also saw some good sportsmanship early on when Goongoon offered to give a rematch when Raphael accidentally deleted. Yeah, that must have been a bit of a heart in the mouth moment for Raphael, but worked out nicely there. Goongoon offered him the rematch, so a really good series. So thanks to both these players for playing out some nice games.
Absolutely. If you want to hear more from Wicked Cossack, we have done some commentaries. There'll be links below if you're watching this as a VOD. But also, Wicked Cossack has done, earlier in the tournament, he played against H2O. Sadly, H2O did beat him. I guess happily for H2O. Sadly for Wicked Cossack, that is. But he has done some commentary over those games, some sort of explaining what he was thinking and why he was doing certain things. And very interesting. Clearly, you can see a knowledgeable guy. Do check out those videos. I'll put a link in Twitch chat for those wondering. But it is time for me to go and have my dinner. Next up, though, on this stream, we do have the Mankelnator himself. It will be H2O versus his opponent, who will be Gaia. So that will be a very interesting match. I will not be casting that one. Best of Sevens take quite a lot out of you. Raphael said it was exhausting. It certainly was for me as well. I'm going to be enjoying that. My dinner's ready, I can hear. Excellent. So thank you for watching, everybody. And we'll see you, I'll see you later on. But coming up next on the stream a bit later on, we will indeed have H2O versus Gaia. And then after that, Azamk versus his opponent, Irish Faithful. So lots more to come. See you later.